Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you another round of Kenickie Answer Me. Of course, we are joined by co-host Jack Kenickie, as always, but two old faces on here, old faces returning. We are, of course, joined by the Godfather, Philip Brady, and by the one and only, the Coffee King, the Roasting King. What was the line you used the other day, Ben?
The cough.
If you can smell what the cough man is brewing. Yeah, absolutely.
When you smell what the cough is brewing.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And we do have a lot to get through tonight, but as always, we do like to see how everybody is. Jack, how are you keeping, my man?
Doing really well, Dave, to be honest. I put a really good poll out there on the second channel, asking people what they want to see in the next video. Because, David, as I said, I gave you a paragraph of, new show ideas for the second channel. People are really liking what I've suggested. It's actually kind of split, amongst, what people want to see, which is fun. Just got off the phone with Paulo Miguel Escobardo, which is always a joy as well. Man is keeping well. He's definitely recovered from, a bit of the flu. And it's just good to catch up with the Harris Army, especially Paulo Miguel. So, Dave, I'm actually doing really well, my man.
No, that's good. That's good. Mr. Brady, how are you keeping, lad?
I am very good tonight, yeah. I'm just watching the Spurs contingent playing Stormers for Wales. Joe Rodon has been superb tonight.
Classic.
And
classic.
They're on the verge of winning. That's all I can say.
Love it. I love it. And Ben, how are you keeping, man?
Doing very well, sirs. It's been a great day today. Getting some planning done. We're heading towards the road to the high point of the coffee year, and we're having a blast. We're getting some stuff done.
Love that.
We're starting to get excited.
Love that. And the competition's coming up. The competition is coming up.
Yeah, they're coming up. They're going to have a taster, though, at the London Coffee Festival. They're going to get a taster of it.
Sounds
I love it. Absolutely love it. And Wales have just won, winning 2-1 on the night. So that is Wales. Go well for them. But we'll see what Irish Hotspur Army are in the building before we start getting into it. We have Moondog. Big up, Moondog. Good evening, lads.
In the
Big
house.
up, Moondog.
Big
I'm
up,
still
Moondog.
on the moon with that Robbie Keane coaster and that Harry Kane plaque, my man. I gave both of them a kiss before I went to bed last night as well. Big up. I really do appreciate it. It's class. And because I was jealous of Ben's plaque. I took a picture of it. I was jealous of Ben's plaque. I'd seen it at the coffee shop. And then I opened mine and it was there. But big up, Moondog. What an absolute legend. We have Derek Hutchinson. Good evening, David and Jack. Let's get some more of those Juve rejects. Come on, you Spurs. I mean, they're not bad, are they? I mean, not bad at all. The impact they've had since they've come in has been unbelievable, Derek. Absolutely love it. We have Rifled. He says, big up, David and Jack. Big up, Rifled. I hope you're keeping well, brother. We also have Matt C in the building. Good evening. What is happening with that transfer? I do not know, man. I do not know, lad. Matt C also says, what is happening with the transfer window made for teams in Ukraine and Russian leagues? Haven't heard anything about that since the news came out. Yeah, I believe they were going to do it in April. They were going to open a window in April, I believe, to be able to let them transfer, my man. So we'll wait and see how it pans out.
Pray for Dodo. Pray for Dodo, everybody. Pray for him. Hopefully he comes.
I love it. We have Tottenham Patrick Gold says, ladies and gentlemen, live from Kildare and New York. It's time for Jack to wave his stats. Magical wand with the main man, David Harry Kane, Irish Hotspur Harris. Come on, you Harris Army. Big up, Dermot. I hope you're keeping well, brother. Big up, my man. We also have William McKenzie says, come on, you Spurs. And
Good
he
to
says,
see you, William.
Big up, William McKenzie. I hope you're keeping well down in New Zealand, brother. And Tottenham Patrick Gold also says, and his partner in crime who knows a thing about stats. Here he is, Jack's son, Statsman Kaniki. Come on, you flat cap army. Big up, Dermot, legend. We have Paulo Miguel Escobardo. Good evening, fam. Big up, Davido and Jacko. Big up, Paulo Miguel Escobardo. I hope you're keeping well. Hope you're recovering as well. 164 Spurs says, good evening, guys. Good evening, 164 Spurs. I hope you're keeping well. We also have James C. Muddingay says, what is happening with Tanganga? All will be revealed shortly. Jack has put the question together for a reason, my man. But big up, James. Anthony Graves in the building. Evening all. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Anthony.
The swim master.
Well. Welsh gal says, just in from the pub. Wales 2, Austria 1. Big yourselves up. Enjoy your evening. Enjoy.
She was probably actually breaking down the tactics the whole time. Welsh gal was, she was probably actually just, giving everybody a lesson on how Wales, pulled off the masterclass. Pick up Welsh gal. Love it.
Big up Welsh gal. Absolute legend. Enjoy your night. Cy Dancer THFC. Good evening all. Good evening, Cy. Hope you're keeping well. Faz Radfire says, big up, guys. Don Paratici. Magic has secured our 3 best signings for many years. Romero, Kulu, and Bentancur. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, Faz.
I mean, Faz, look, you're either a believer or you're not a believer. I'm a believer. That's one thing I'm putting on record. I am a believer in the guy. Big up.
We know what the
Fast
cop
Man.
is cooking. We know what the Don is cooking, Dave.
That's why we call them the Don. You know, can you smell what the Don is cooking? We have Baby D says, disagree, Faz. Bale last year was one of our best signings, especially statistically. Interesting.
Yeah, true.
Who else have we got? We've got Lazy 8 in the building. Big up, Nick. Everybody give him a bit of credit for that unbelievable match vlog he put together. What a guy, what a man, and also for the watch-alongs. And things are only going to get better from here on out. Big up, Nick. Hope you're keeping well. We also have Bodrul Mazid. Big up, gents. Big up, Bodrul. I hope you're keeping well. It's good to see you in. Who else have we got here? We've got Grand Prix goal. Dermot switching over. Big up the Godfather and the Coffee Man. What a panel. Big up, Dermot. Big up, Dermot. Getting the second channel in there. I love it.
Good logo, too. It's a good logo.
It is a good one, actually. It is a very good one, to be fair. King Huddle says, Italy are out. That is absolutely insane. It is insane. That is insane. That is mad. Big up, King Huddle. Rob Coyne says, boys, what's up? It's been a while. It has been a while, my man. It has been a while. Look, we're all good. Hope you're keeping well. We're just back from supporting the boys over in England. I went to the Brighton away and the West Ham at home, and Jack went to West Ham at home, and Ben was also there as well, just over there supporting the boys. But we're back. Big up, Rob. Hope you're keeping well. We also have Daniel Larson. Hello, everyone, by the way. Big up, Daniel. I hope you're keeping well.
Love it, Daniel.
We have Mojo Matzi says yes. Big up, Mojo Matzi. We also have David says 92nd minute goal by North Macedonia. That is crazy, my man.
Wow. Was it Goran? Was it Goran Pandev, the eternal Goran? Let me know.
Sadly still playing, is he?
No,
Jesus.
he has to be. He has to be. I hope he is. The guy never retires. He was even old during those days at Inter Milan with Jose. He was even old back then. The guy's forever.
Oh, that's quality. Chris is in the building. Says, even the lads back from London. Big up, Chris. I hope you're keeping well, my man. Island Life is in the building. He says, damn, Italy, you're out. Big up, Island Life. Mr. Edwardson, good to see you. He also says Italy are out, and they're laughing away between themselves. We have Alfie Goslin. Hi, lad. Hope all is well. Italy, not in Qatar. That's good. Absolutely. It's a shock. It's definitely a shock, Alfie. I hope you're keeping well, man. Marlon Green, big up, lads. Got the flat cap on in tribute. Come on, you Spurs. Big up, Marlon. You know what the story is, my man. Honestly, I hope you got the bird spray out as well to keep them all away from you. Big up, Marlon. And we also have Jax Be Nimble says Zlatan on Decky's ear before the extra time, giving him a big advice. Big up, my man. I hope you're keeping well. It's Tony Hall. It's good to see you. Says, hello, guys. 2 wins out of 2. Can we make it a third after international break? Just need to keep the faith. We get Champions League believe. Of course we can. Look, we've got Newcastle, Aston Villa and Brighton are, I think, coming up. You know, there's no reason why we shouldn't be winning all 3 of them, to be honest. And look, they're not going to be easy games. Not going to be easy games by any means. We're going to have to go and deserve the win and earn the win, but we should be winning them. If we want to be Champions League team next season, there are games we have to be winning. It's that simple, my man. But big yourself up. It's Tony Hall. We also have Michael Bennett in the building. Loved your videos and vlogs from the weekend, boys. Looked like you had a great time. Loved the emotion from you, Jack, as you saw the pitch in person. Fair play to you, brother. We've all been there.
Wow, Michael. I mean, it's good to see that you've all been there. I must say, again, the fact, I'll say it 1,000 times, experiencing it alone would have been unbelievable. To experience it with friends and, like I said, what feels like family, I think just made it all just unbelievable. To experience it with Ben, with Ellie, with Sean, with David, of course, and Ben from We Are Time TV Boys. And I don't know, it was like being surrounded by family. It really was. It was unbelievable, yeah. Michael. Really appreciate it. And I'm also so glad so many people got so much out of it. Everybody also as well, you know, were saying they felt a bit emotional from it, which is unbelievable. Also just shows how good of a job Nick did, you know, clearly with it, that, you know, people enjoyed it that much. But really appreciate that, Michael. Very nice.
Big up, Michael. It's good to see you. And we've also got William Pretty in here. So sorry, I haven't been here for a while. I've had a lot of exams going on at school. Look, no need for apologies at all, my man. We understand people out there living their life. It's just here for anybody who wants Spurs content. That's all, my man.
At least someone's doing their homework, Dave. You know, at least someone's doing their homework. Alex Dave.
Still waiting for Alex to return it. Actually, yeah, we were asking for it at the game. How dare he comes without it? How dare he?
William, you're all
we'll
right,
have
my
him
man.
on
You
Sunday.
know,
we're having him on
there's
Sunday.
more homework to return. There's more homework out there, my man. You're fine, William.
The Crispy Cockerel says, evening, gents. Come on, you Spurs. Evening, the Crispy Cockerel. Hope you're keeping well. We also have Wira Sly says, big up, guys. Just want to say Italy out from the World Cup again. It's just heartbreaking for me.
Yeah.
Look, look, I like Italy, you know, to be fair. I always like watching them. Usually they turn up for big tournaments as well, but it is what it is. I mean, North Macedonia had a bit of hunger and got the luck at the end of the day. And, you know, the game plan probably worked absolutely perfectly. But look, no need to be gutted, my man. No need to be gutted. We're here to talk Tottenham tonight, lad. You know, Tottenham are on good vibes at the minute. But look, guys, we're going to hand it over to Jack now to start getting Philip and Ben involved. Everybody, make sure you absolutely smash that like button. Make sure you smash that subscribe button if you are new to the channel. And guys, feel free to get your super chats in. It's a great way to support the channel. It's a great way to get your points to us for all of us to discuss. Any questions for the panel as well, guys. And do not worry. We know it is a big, bad world out there. And not everybody's in a position to do it. At least get your comments in and your answers to the questions in the chat, and we will bring them up as we go along. But Jack, enough of me. It's over to you, my man.
Let's pass it off. I think we always, have to start with the Godfather here, with the questions. Philip, as you may have known, Kulusevski deal, all the details have been leaked. Everything is basically public about the deal. And so there is an option, in fact, to buy him early this summer for a bit of a reduced fee. You probably save about 5 million euros, where the reduced fee would be for 30 million euros instead of 35 million euros. And that fee would be paid this summer instead of that fee being paid in 2023. So do you feel like maybe we should buy him early, Philip? And maybe kind of as a follow-up question, if you do feel like we should buy him early, do you think that actually might make Kulusevski even better? Does that show some faith, for the kid? I mean, what would you do if you were maybe Paratici? Would you maybe, trigger that buy clause early?
I would, yeah. And mainly because of comments that Kulusevski gave in an interview there I've seen this week, where he was sort of comparing life at Tottenham with life at Juventus. And he was saying in Juventus, nobody talked to him. He played one game a month if he was lucky. His fitness wasn't right. Since he's come to Spurs, there's been a hand on his shoulder asking him how's he getting on. His fitness is better. His training regime is better. Mm-hmm. It's now showing in his performances, which are astounding, really extremely good. And based on the way he is at the moment, okay, listen, things can change. The guy can get injured tonight playing for Sweden. So we have to look at that. But as it stands at the moment, yes, I would buy him. And Levy, to say 5 million, would probably sell his grandmother.
Follow-up question. Follow-up question. Do you feel like we did that with GLC though? Where we bought him early. Does that give you any sort of vibes like that? Could that happen all over again? What are your thoughts? Like, or does it do the opposite? Does it show faith in the guy, or do you think maybe it just makes him complacent if we buy him early?
It shows faith in him, and I think that Kulusevski has probably done more in the 3 months he's been here than GLC has done in the 2.5 years.
Fair.
So I think that's the answer to that question. He's found a place where he can express himself, a place where he's loved, and a place that he can go places with, and that's why we should sign him. He's definitely one for the future. Now, this time next year, I could be sitting there saying, why the hell do we waste our money on that guy? You just don't know. But if he continues his upward trend the way he's going, yes, definitely buy him now. Definitely.
Great answer, I must say. Faz Radfire just quickly saying, Davies and especially Rodon were superb for Wales. Philip, I'm going to have to follow you up again because you watched the game. I can't answer this one. You're going to have to answer.
Poor old Ben Davies. He stuck his leg out to stop a half-hit shot and deflected it over the goalkeeper into the net. So even though the shot was on target, it goes down as an own goal because of the trajectory. Joe Rodon was superb. Even in the last couple of minutes, he made an interception, a block that stopped a shot that could have gone in and would have brought it to 2 each. He was really good. I mean, and I have to say, like him or hate him or whatever, Gareth Bale tonight, I mean, my God. It was like back in the old days of Spurs. It was like taxi for what do you call him, Maicon against Inter back in 2000 and whenever it was.
Yeah,
he rolled back the years tonight. And I've never seen a player when he was substituted get as big an ovation as Gareth Bale got tonight.
They love Gareth.
There wasn't one person sitting down except the Austrian fans, of course.
Yeah.
They love Gareth. I mean, the Wales fans, they absolutely love him. And the reason why is because he simply just turns it on for them. He is like their Superman. He is sometimes, especially, I feel like they're a lot better team than they were in the past. Wales, I feel like they actually have some decent players now.
They played some good football. And if Dan James could finish, they would have won that game much more consistently. He was three times on the goalkeeper, but didn't score any of them.
But to think about it, like they actually have been in more major tournaments, recently than probably most Wales fans would probably have expected. And so I think that's maybe what makes Gareth Bale so special, is that he has brought them to major tournaments, and he has, given maybe Wales fans, even just making those major tournaments is already a huge achievement. And so that's probably why he is such a cult figure over there, because he turns it on for them and he brings them into tournaments that they probably wouldn't think they would make so consistently. I mean, they've made back-to-back now, if not, I'm not sure if they've made now 3 times in a row. Like they made now, I think 2 World Cups as well during his tenure. So Gareth Bale certainly has turned it on for them. That's absolutely spot on.
He's very good, and the fans deserve it as well, because the Welsh fans are superb. They really are. They really get behind their team. Brilliant.
Absolutely. But on to our beautiful ginger from Sweden, Ben. Would you buy that? Would you buy him early? Because Adrian Schroka put in a good comment there saying, you would actually not only have to pay maybe 5 million euros more for the buy clause next season, but also as well, you have to pay the loan fee, which is around 10 million euros, I think. So if you maybe total that up, that would be around 15 million more when you consider it. Would you buy him now instead of maybe, trigger it later?
Well, there's a red herring we haven't spoken about, and that is if we finish 4th. If we finish 4th, we have to sign him anyway.
Right.
So we might have the situation where we have to sign him anyway. But a couple of the guys in the chat are saying we should leave it to next summer and save and just pay the 10 million. So we put all that money for next season and get someone we desperately need now. But I believe personally that we should be showing Decky a bit of loyalty, because he has been absolutely incredible since he came into that team. He's been brilliant apart from the first 2 games where he was a bit nervy, maybe a bit rusty, not totally match fit. But he is now shown that he is of the highest quality, and we need to show him that he wants. Not only does the fans want him here, the club want him here, and we got to say, even if we don't get someone else, we need to show this boy some love, because he is shown to be absolutely brilliant, and we need to bring that feel good factor, the team spirit. All pulling together in the same direction, and let's go for next season. So I would get Decky.
Interesting. Two early buy clauses, triggered, by the panelists here, Dave. Now going to you last, just going to twist it up here a bit, Dave. So first question, obviously, if you were to sign Kulusevski early, let me know why. But also maybe as a follow-up, what makes Kulusevski so good? Why would you, if you were to buy him early, why would you do it? What makes him so good?
Look, for me, I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna trigger it early. And it's not to do with how he's performed, because I think he's come in. I think, to be honest with you, he warrants it being bought out early. I think everyone looking at him, he definitely has a good relationship with Son and Kane already. He's only been here a couple of months. How he slotted in so seamlessly. Look, Jack, I'm not surprised. Look, when we signed this guy, it gave me a raging hard on. I knew he was one of the best under-21 prospects around Europe. I really believed in this guy. I've watched him from Sweden. I've been aware of him for...
Yeah, we did that watch-along together.
I've tracked his career, and I'm absolutely delighted he's at Tottenham. And for me, look, we've had pace in them areas. What this guy is a bit slower, but he's quicker up here than Lucas or Bergwijn or anybody else we've had. He really adds something, and he makes our front three absolutely lethal. But the reason why I'm not going to trigger it early is because we're already going to have to pay for Romero this summer. We cannot forget that. So if you're paying for Romero and you're paying for Kulusevski, there's about 70, 80 million already wiped out in the budget. So you already have to pay for Romero this season. So for me, I think you wait till the end, till next season to do it, or even next January to do it. And I'm sure, look, for me, if it's a love team for Kulu, you got to go and speak to him, put your arm around him, explain the situation. We are doing it. We're just going to use the money elsewhere this summer for other positions that really do need strengthening. And that's the only reason why I hold out.
Interesting. And Badrul Mazid saying, I love Decky, but Brian Daigle made a great point. Obligation to buy next season, spend the 30 million on priority signings rather than save 5 million and buy Decky next season. It's a good point there raised by Badrul. And I also think, as well, Lazy 8 saying Alex doesn't rate Kulu, which is good enough reason to sign him permanently. And as well, good banter there.
I don't know how you can't rate him, to be honest.
I mean, look, this is a guy that set up a fan club for Harry Winks. Come on.
Whatever he does.
I'm going to give him that bloke nothing but love, because he's one of the nicest people I've ever. He is so lovely. So I'm not going to say anything. But
no, he knows it's all banter. He knows it.
It's all banter, yeah. But it's just like that. If anyone doesn't actually rate Decky already, I think they need to go to their nearest physician because this kid is quality.
Specsavers, even maybe.
And a lot of people are saying that he's not actually. He's actually quite quick. He just doesn't have to turn a pace such as a Gareth Bale used to have. Once he gets going, the man is a monster. It's like almost like Yunus Kabul used to be. So, he definitely has got pace.
Got the momentum.
Yeah, once momentum comes up. But most important thing with Decky is, again, like Dave said, he's quick up there. And that's what we need in this team. We don't need any more meatheads anymore. We need proper footballers. Mentality and football intelligence is a word my brother Brian Daigle says a lot. Football intelligence is incredibly important. And that's what we need now.
And to be fair, the fact that he also, Dave, to be fair that he has football intelligence at that sort of age, is actually the real sign that he's a quality player. He doesn't rely on his athleticism, doesn't rely on his, speed or anything. He relies on his brain at 21 years old. Usually you would expect a player at 35, 36, to be that sort of player. But the fact that he's that sort of player at 21 makes him actually quite special.
He has a brain well beyond his years. He's very mature. But look, before what he's come in and done, before it was very easy to press Tottenham, very easy to stop Tottenham. It was always going to be Son and Kane. So you just overload that side of the pitch with bodies, you block it up, you take the ball off Tottenham, and you go and counter knowing that our defense was shaky. Now that we have Kulusevski added to it, you've seen it against West Ham. We've seen it in a number of games. They don't even need anybody supporting them. Between all three of them, they can create chances themselves. They can either run at players and beat them and get a shot off, or else they can interlink with each other. They're so dangerous. Bentancur's come in, he just puts the ball around the corner and they just let them three off. And they're absolutely killing teams. You get quick ball to these front three. And by having a front three, it means they have the whole side of the pitch to worry about.
Right.
So with Son and Kane, they were just kind of pressing the centre and the left. But now they have to spread the whole back line. So it's a lot more dangerous for them. They have to keep an eye on all three because if they switch off on Kulu, he's sneaking in at the back post. Switch off on Sonny, he's the same. Switch off on Kane, you know what's going to happen. So this guy has come in and has really brought us from two world-class players to form a front three to a very lethal front three all across the board, which I think is up there with the very best in the Premier League, to be honest with you.
I really like that answer, Dave. And Adrian Troca, again, with another really brilliant comment here, saying, Dejan Kulusevski, this is your quotes here saying, I love the club. It could not be better. I'm just trying to believe I'm even here, living in London and playing for a club like Tottenham. Philip, even here,
that's the quote. That's the quote on white. Yeah, he is. He's like he was a fringe player at Juventus. He was on the periphery of the team. He was probably frozen out a little bit. He's come to London and he's got on with the players that obviously the management love him. Conte, I think, as we've heard from other people, Conte takes a real interest in all the players. He talks to them every day, which I believe Nuno didn't. And he's making the guy feel at home. Like he's 21 years of age. He's living in a city like London. He must think all his Christmases have come together. Yeah. You think about it. So it's a great move for the kid. And he's proving he's like Paratici knew what he was like by when he bought him. He knew the talent that this fella has. And now we're starting to reap the benefit of it. And long may it continue because as he's not got the paciest, he's not the paciest runner, but he has a footballing brain, which is nearly as important. If not,
what I love about Paratici is the fact that he's actually buying back all the players that he bought for Juventus. So it's actually that's my favorite part. It's like a package deal. Like I bet David did this. I bet David, when he was being picked for his five-a-side, he goes, listen, I need my striker. If you get me on the team, you also need to bring my striker with me. That's what Paratici is saying. Listen, I got the center back from Atalanta. If I'm coming to Spurs, he's coming with me. I have this other guy named Dejan Kulusevski. He's coming with me. Bentancur is coming with me. I love that actually about him. Bob Spur TV in the house saying Bale did his thing, but Rodon was immense tonight. Italy out too. Anyone heard from Iggy? He's probably taking a week off, man. He needs a week off, I would say.
Do you know what? I feel sorry because he wears his Italy colours with pride, to be fair to the guy. He wears them everywhere.
Yeah.
Always in them on streams. So
he's a Serie A expert. He's a Serie A expert, actually, as well.
I would not like to be Mancini tonight. I'll tell you one thing.
He won't have a job.
The last public hanging in Italy was Mussolini during the war. He could be next because this is the first time they haven't qualified for a tournament in yonks, you know?
Yeah.
And to go from winning the Euros, though, to that is unbelievable. But to be fair, actually, that is actually quite common when you think about it. You know, it feels like every World Cup winning team, like Germany, you think about it, all of a sudden drop out of the group stages. Happen as well with Spain. Like the moment Spain, they had their little golden period, then they were pretty awful for a time period. It just seems to be the case. Maybe it's really hard for international teams once they win something to keep the motivation. You know, I guess maybe they just need to fail in order to, you know, develop motivation. You know, again,
North
I don't
Macedonia, you know, if you lose to Spain or France or England, North Macedonia, let that sink in a bit. They didn't even exist 10 minutes ago, you know?
It is shocking.
You're disrespecting my Goran Pandev there, Philip. You're disrespecting my Goran Pandev.
I just want to say to everybody out there.
He didn't score, by the way. I never heard the fellow that scored.
No, he wasn't in the lineup.
I just want to say to everybody out there, Bob is doing a stream Saturday, guys. I encourage everybody to get over there and give the man a lot of support in the comments. Big up, Bob. It's good to see you in, my man. It's good to see you in. So it is. And Adam William Cale, I'll see you up there Saturday, my man. I'll see you up there Saturday for Ben Stag, man. Be a good night.
Alrighty, lads. Well, I guess we're just going to move on maybe to the next question here. And this one is coming from Harry Kane. You know, he was being asked, you know, over his England international break, you know, about maybe his future with Spurs and everything. And he said, my main focus is finishing this season. I can't control what's going to happen in the future. I want to be going into that tournament in the best form possible. For you, Ben, does Kane's answer give you any sort of, you know, nerves or worries, or is it really no alarm bells at all for you?
No. If team won him, Man City, 150 million. He's proven now. He's still the same Harry Kane from last year. Pay the same money we wanted last season. But at the end of the day, there are some bigger fish to fry for a lot of these bigger teams this year. There is a Mr. Erling Haaland that can go for £63 million this year. And I think a team like Man City that are willing to cash it in and spend that money on a Harry Kane are going to do it for a player like Erling Haaland, who's going to be at that level for 8, 9, 10 years because he's, 22, 23? I don't know how old Haaland is now. So I think a lot of teams are going to be looking at Haaland. And I think we're going to ask for stupid money again. And I think Kane's happy here. And I think he's going to want to play with Conte. I think him and Conte are now their futures are on the same wavelength. If one leaves, the other one leaves. It's almost at that moment. So I don't see either of them leaving. A Conte rebuild that he's apparently been promised or so is going to be with Harry Kane. And Kane staying here is going to be with Conte staying. So the two will stay here or they will both leave. So I see them both staying personally.
I feel like I kind of like that confidence from you. And to be fair, it was a scary question for me, Philip, you know, when he was asked that. And his answer, I feel like it was a very diplomatic answer. He doesn't want to say one or the other, you know, it's kind of classic. But for you, does it raise any alarm bells, you know, maybe that sort of answer?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, my take on this has been we qualify for the Champions League, Harry Kane stays. That's it. End of story. We don't qualify for the Champions League, then if Man City come in with 150 million or 100 million even, I think he'll be going. I really do. I think Champions League is key to Harry Kane staying with us. And I take that we're going to have Conte for another season anyway. Conte will be trying his best to keep Harry Kane. And I mean, I think the Spurs players know what's going to happen at the end of the season. All the speculation is going to start again. And I think that's in no way, it's connected to our upsurge in form now. The guys know we finish top 4, we have our main man next year. And that's the way we have to hope it's going to be. Otherwise, it's in the lap of the gods. We can only hope that Haaland goes to Man City because then there's nowhere else for Harry to go. Why would he go to Man United, who are a crapper? You know, poorer team than Spurs ever were this season. They're a team in crisis. Why would he go there? I know you're going money there, but I don't know. I really don't know. I think Harry Kane, for him, it's not only the money. It's not money is his motivation. You know, I think he wants to win things, and I think that's by going to Man United, he's not going to do it there. And so I'm hoping to God, top 4, we keep Harry. If we finish 5th, then we'll all be saying that we'll all be heading to the church praying that he stays with us. But
yeah,
I
absolutely.
I don't want to sound pessimistic, but that's
no. I think you read the quote accurately there, Philip. I think you did read it accurately there. To be honest, like if Harry Kane wants to stay in the Premier League, I think we answered this before. What are really his options? Like you said, is he going to win really anything with Man United? Probably not certain. And would he really want to make that controversial move? Not happening. Chelsea, there's no way he's going to Chelsea. That would be similar to a Sol Campbell move to a degree. And then really what's left is like Man City at the end of the day again. So there's really only one suitor for him. And like I said before, it seems like Pep Guardiola just gets a kick out of not signing a number 9. He seems to almost get a bit of pride from it. So my feeling is if he wants to stay in the Premier League, sadly for him, there's really not a lot out there. If he wanted to make the move, he would have to make the move to a club probably outside of England. And I think he really wants to break that record for top goal scorers. So perhaps, he is just answering it diplomatically. But I think someone was going to come in here. I did come across somebody.
Just one more thing on that. I'll just finish off that. The Man City thing, I have a feeling if Kane does go to Manchester City, he will not be going to the English champions, because I think Liverpool are going to win the league this year. And that's going to put Pep Guardiola's position in jeopardy. If he loses the league from the position they were in earlier in the season, the Arabs are not going to be happy. And that could have a big bearing on what players come in next season. So keep that one in the back burner to see what happens. But Liverpool, I think, are going to push them to the very end. I would not be surprised if they won the league.
Yeah, I would be happy to see Pep Guardiola or Pep Crayola, definitely losing that one, because I would say as much as I rate him as an unbelievable manager, as a person, I'm not his biggest fan. I would tell you that. But Graham, massive shout out to Graham. Good to have Graham in the house.
Big fan of Philip. Big fan
of
Philip.
Graham. How are you? I'll see you in a few weeks, Graham.
Wow. That would be a meeting. That would be a meeting.
Yeah. I met him before at the Norwich match.
Like Spurs
Ellie
scholars.
and myself and Phil went over and had a chat with him. So he's a great guy. Great guy.
I'd love to see that do a stream on Tottenham on tour with you two talking. I reckon that could go on for like 7 hours. That'd be brilliant.
24-hour live stream, so it will be 24-hour.
I feel like even the handshake.
4 hours and you're only at 1967. What are we going to do?
I'd watch that. Get me some warm beer, some pub snacks while I'm there.
I tell you, when you said coffee, Ben, I was like, I can't do that. Come on now.
Even just them meeting you would hear it around the world. I think just two Spurs scholars just embracing. Moondog saying Decky feels appreciated, and that goes a long way. The whole reason, exactly, Moondog, the whole reason why I kind of brought up the question was, while maybe you take a huge chunk out of the transfer budget, who knows, but like maybe showing him that faith. If he already is saying that he's loving life at Spurs, if he's already saying that practically he's bleeding the blue and white, maybe just triggering that, buy clause early just shows that faith in him, gives him even more confidence. Who knows? Might even get an even better Decky Kulusevski. But I don't know. I'm only speculating there. But Moondog, I think that's a great comment. And that's actually pretty much where the question was coming from. And then William Kelly, Dave.
William Kelly's getting permanently banned from the channel, confirmed.
I've been like a caged animal. I've been like a junkie waiting to answer the Harry Kane question. I've been rocking back and forth, shaking the screen. Let me at it. No, look, William, Harry Kane's comments, look, that's not just any ordinary comments. That's like a transcript for me. That's something I would frame. Looking at the comments, I'm not too worried. I think he's just trying to, just let it all kind of just give them a mundane answer, let it blow over until the end of the season. And look, for me, I think I don't think he'll leave Tottenham this summer. I think, Champions League football is going to be crucial to keeping him and Conte. As long as Conte is here, I think Kane sticks with him, in my opinion. I don't see Kane leaving. I think Kane is a big believer in Conte. I think he's a big backer of Conte. And I see him sticking around for as long as Conte sticks around, because I think Kane will definitely see a way forward, a way of winning things under Antonio Conte. I mean, you look at it, where's he going to go? First of all, his barber probably won't want to travel to Man City every week. He probably won't want to travel up to Manchester to cut his hair. Look, he's not going to Manchester for sure. He's not going to Man United, and he's not going anywhere across Europe. There's nowhere for him to go. And at the end of the day, what team is going to stump up 150 million for him? I don't see it happening. For me, I don't think he has any options now. I'm well aware he only has a couple of years left on his contract, and he's getting to that time where you're going to have to make that decision. Right. Do you cash in now? Do you not? But for me, look, I think he's absolutely irreplaceable. I mean, it'd be absolutely stupid to go and sell Harry Kane. Who are you going to get to come in here to do what he does? Nobody. No money can buy what Harry Kane has. And for me, I don't see him going anywhere, to be honest with you. I think he's just trying to not really get bogged down in the whole media thing, and he just wants to see out this season, like you mentioned, end it in good form and stuff like that. So I don't see it being a problem. I think he's just trying to brush the media off, to be honest.
Well, Dave, you've already answered the question then, to be fair. You've already put, water to the flame. Anybody else have any thoughts maybe on this Kane situation before we maybe move on here? Ben, it seems like you maybe had something.
Commenting on what Dave just said, in the words of Maxi Miller that we heard at the weekend, big teams do not sell their best players.
Yep.
Full stop. And if we want to be a big team, you do not sell your big players.
No, sorry, just quickly. And it was Tony Galvin and Mr. Miller as well that were saying, Nuno didn't speak to Harry Kane at all. He spoke to him for 3.5 minutes in 3 months. And he says, he said that Kane absolutely loves Conte. He comes in every day. How's your kids? How's your wife? How are they getting on in school? Apparently, he absolutely loves him. And all Kane needs is just someone that he can believe in. It's all he needs. You look at the performances under Nuno. I mean, no wonder why a lot of the players stopped performing under the guy, because they just absolutely hated him. Absolutely hated him. He was cold. He didn't speak to anybody. Whereas with Conte, he speaks to him all the time. He speaks to Big H all the time. It makes me jealous to get on that much. They have a better romance than what I have, even though it's only one-sided. But look, at the end of the day, Harry Kane just needs a manager that he can believe in, that he can trust. And with Conte, he's got that.
Do you think he likes Antonio Conte more than he liked Jose, Dave?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Wow.
100%, I think he does.
He did like Jose.
Yeah, he liked Jose. Look, Kane likes winners. Kane likes someone that comes in and will rattle the likes of Winks' cage, Davies' cage, Dyer's cage to try and get the best out of them. Because at the end of the day, Harry Kane has always stated he wants to win things. He keeps saying all the individual accolades are great. It's brilliant. But I want to win things. So he just loves a manager that will win at all costs necessary. He loves him. Absolutely loves him.
Look at the difference in Harry Kane's physique from Nuno's time to now.
Yeah.
Harry Kane was like a Sunday pub team footballer for the first part of this season. He was overweight. He was out of condition. He didn't give a shit. And now we know why. But since Nuno was gone, look at the difference in the man. He's trim. He's lean. He's hungry. He's playing probably the best football of his career. And he has, bonded with Conte. That's the best way I can put it. The two guys obviously get on with him, and let's hope it continues. But
spot on.
As I said, Harry Kane now is going to be. I'm expecting a goal feast from him now to the end of the season.
Yeah,
spot on.
Got the taste of it now, and let's hope Newcastle are the first beneficiaries of it.
William Kelly in here again saying Conte is staying. Kane stays, but only if Conte's backed in the summer. Sorry, Dave, can't help myself. No, William, I must say it is the best, because even just seeing Dave's face, he even twitches at times, as well. William Kelly, you do get him, as much as he doesn't think he's rattled, you do rattle him. I can tell, William Kelly.
It's anyone that says anything bad about Harry. It just annoys me. It's like, even the disrespect he got over the summer, it's like, please, can we just respect what the guy has done here? I mean, let's just love him for what he's done. He's just going through a bad patch. He'll be back. And I was right. Now, don't hate me because I was right. I just backed a world-class player that I knew was out of form. Form is temporary, class is permanent, and the class was always going to come back and prevail. And it's that simple. Look, I actually believe there will be. I actually believe. Now, come back and absolutely ridicule me, call me a fool and everything else if it doesn't happen. I believe they will be back this summer. I do believe it.
I think they're a tandem, I would say. If Conte is happy, Kane is happy. If Kane is happy, Conte is happy, is my feeling. I think it's symbiotic, I would argue. So whatever Conte says is probably how Kane feels. However, whatever Kane says is probably how Conte feels. It seems to be some sort of symbiotic relationship between the two. So probably whatever you hear Conte say, you don't even really need to hear what Harry Kane says, because that's probably a reflection of how Harry Kane feels.
You know what I would love someone would do? They should do a comparison, split screen video of Spurs goals under Nuno and Spurs goals under Conte.
I mean, there's not
I'll
that
say
many.
no
The
more.
Newcastle goal was pretty class. I would say that Newcastle
I'll say
goal was
no
pretty
more.
class.
You've got a statue standing there, and you have a whirling dervish nearly jumping into the stand with excitement. Which one would you rather have? I know which one I'd rather have.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kicking Coke bottles. I mean, when the guy's kicking Coke bottles, Ronaldo won't even touch them. I mean, you know it's party time.
Yeah.
That's a great comment. I love it. I love it. Big up, William Kelly. Really do appreciate it. Great talking point as well. Do you guys take Dybala and a Bale on a free? It's a great transition to the next question, but might as well answer it since Avi got there before I did. Good man.
He wants efficiency, Jack.
He wants efficiency. He's taking my job, Dave, with this one. Avi, do I take Bale on a free? That's going to be the first one I answer. Believe me, like a while ago, I probably would have said yes. And I probably could catch me on record saying yes. But now, knowing what Conte wants from his players, the effort and everything, unless maybe you're signing Bale as some sort of backup number 9, kind of something like that, maybe that could work because he actually could, to a degree, do what Harry Kane does. He is an unbelievable passer of the ball, so technically gifted. I do remember some of the passes Bale played last season that I thought actually were kind of underrated at times, some of the switches of play he can make and whatnot. But is he really capable of playing the right wing in that 3-4-3? Is he capable of dropping deep like Kulusevski does to help out the right wing back? I don't think he is. So I feel like if you were signing Bale on a free, you'd almost be signing him as some sort of kind of alternative maybe to Harry Kane or something like that. That's how I could see making sense of it. In terms of signing Dybala on a free, the biggest worry for me is Dybala going for the big payday? And is he motivated, with the next club that he goes to? The big thing, though, he's got a lot of friends over here at Spurs and also a manager like Antonio Conte. It's not like you could come into Antonio Conte's squad and, just be looking for a payday. I mean, he would see right through that right away and he wouldn't allow it to happen. So if Dybala has the motivation, if he wants to be proving something in the Premier League, absolutely take him. If he's kind of just looking, just to find a new club and kind of just relax a bit, I probably wouldn't, to be fair. Anybody disagree with me or anybody have any comments? Because we are about to talk about Dybala. I am going to leak it. So we are about to talk about him extensively.
I've been watching Bale tonight. Now, Bale has played 77 minutes of football since November. That's how frozen out he is at Real Madrid. And apparently the Spanish press at the moment is calling him a scavenger and a leech. And they're really giving him hell at the moment because he's winding down his contract with Real Madrid. I don't think Bale, good and all as he was tonight, and he was awesome tonight, he is not a Conte type player. He won't track back. He's not able to track back. He's not fit enough. Like, I think he did his groin in tonight because he came off there at the end and he was feeling his groin for about 10 minutes before he came off. So I don't think so. Much as I love the guy, I think it would be cruel to be kind. It would be kind to be cruel to take him back. I don't think we need to take him back. Whereas Dybala, different kettle of fish. I think he's got a lot to offer still.
Big fan of Dybala, it sounds like, Philip is. Good to hear.
I'm not really, no. But I remember what he did to us in the Champions League when he was playing for Juventus.
No, I mean, the guy has a curler on him as well. Like, he really can hit a banger from outside the box. But might as well then, Avi. Like I said, doing my job for me. So we're going to move on to the Dybala question. Do you think, everybody, there's a chance Dybala could sign for Spurs because he's just denied, and refused contract extensions with Juventus and is expected to go to some club in the summer on a free transfer? And of course, as always, Spurs have been linked with the player considering our previous history of links with the Argentinian forward. This time around, Ben, do you think there's a chance Dybala could come to Spurs?
Well, he was going to come the first time, wasn't he? But there was only one man that said no to it, and that was Mr. Daniel Levy because of the image rights. Those image rights have now been waved away. And as you said before, he's now got mates at this club. Romero, Bentancur are already there. Bentancur was one of his best friends at Juventus. So that might be another reason why he's leaving Juventus.
Yeah. That actually helps a lot more than you think, actually, having players that they can actually, talk to and say, what's life over there like at Spurs, and everything like that. So we actually have more of an inside, I feel like, sort of approach to luring him over, you would say.
Yeah. But if there is a chance we can get this man, he is world class. And if you want to keep players like Harry Kane, you sign world class backup, even though Dybala might not even be backup. that might be the problems. We might have too much talent in those areas. We'll go from having no talent up there to having too much. That might be a bit of a problem. We might have to change the system more. But if there is a chance we can get Paulo Dybala, we should absolutely go for him. At the end of the day, it's all up to the manager. The manager might want to spend that the wage money on a better centre-back like a De Vrij. But Conte is not... Conte is, if he wants him, I want him. If Paratici thinks this will work for his system, I'll take it. But back to what Philip said about what he did to us. He does that to teams in the Serie A week in, week in, out, even though his contract is up. And most players would be on the beach by now, knowing they're not going to be there. Just take the money and go. This is a signing we need to show next year we're challenging. We need to sign all the players we need and go for it. This is the one chance we've got to get a world-class player for not a lot of money.
No settling.
Well, it'll only be a signing on fee and wages. There's no fee involved. You know? One thing, though, I did read today, I don't know how accurate it is, was that Dybala is still pissed off with Levy over the last time. And that he's going to string Levy along and at the very last minute sign for somebody else. Could happen. You know?
It certainly could happen. There are a lot of people that have vendettas against the guy. Who would be surprised.
Can you imagine a front four of Son, Kane, Dybala, and Kulusevski?
I just feel like even the fact, let's say,
it'd be brilliant because then Sonny could drop out some games and Dybala could come in.
That's it.
We can. That's what you need. You need lots of talent to rotate the squad, and that's what Conte is going to want to do because we can't just keep on playing.
I think I saw someone earlier there. Romero could convince him. Romero just take him up a back alley and say, "Right, lads, you sign for Spurs or you'll never play again."
I wouldn't know if I would want, having a conversation with Romero. It's probably, it's probably a big if, if you do this, this could happen. Definitely so. But Dave, is there a chance this time around that, we do in fact, sign Dybala? What are your thoughts about it? Because I kind of feel like we could get heartbroken again. And then maybe as a follow-up, Dave, is he in fact the right signing for Spurs? Alex De Figueiredo put that in the comments. Where does he even fit in? What are your thoughts on it, Dave? First question is, could this even happen in the first place? Is this plausible? Second question is he in fact actually the right signing for Spurs?
Look, this is one I'd be skeptical of. He's kind of getting to that point in his career where it is his last big payday. And no matter what club he goes to, he's going to demand extravagant wages purely because there's no transfer fee involved, and he will have clubs that will offer. I think if we end up getting into a bidding war and we're being bought back and forward with it, I would stay away because to me that would ring alarm bells. And it's at the point of his career where you don't really know what player you're going to get. I mean, You look at Arsenal, some of the big contracts they've handed out, and look at the situations they got themselves into with Alexis Sanchez, Ozil, Aubameyang, and at Tottenham, with how badly our money has been mismanaged over the last couple of years, especially by that other fraud, the ball fraud, Steve Hitchen. We can't really afford to get any wrong, Jack. We really can't. I mean, you look at Newcastle with the money that they have. Steven Gerrard's going to be doing a decent job at Villa. You have Wolves knocking on the door now. There's teams up there now that are knocking on our door, and we cannot afford to get too much more wrong at all, or else we're going to fall further and further down into a pile of teams where we don't want to be around. Look, I like him as a player. I think he's a very good player. He's got a good goal ratio. He's got a good assist ratio as well. Look, he's a good creative player. But look, this for me is where you've got to go in and you've got to do your homework on this guy. You've got to find out what way he's living his life. How is he mentally? Is he still as dedicated as he once was? You got to do your digging into his background and see what his motivation is for the next couple of years. You can't just go and offer him a contract because it's what the fans want to appease the fans. You've got to because like all the other issues I alluded to with other teams being around us and the money that's being mismanaged, we cannot afford to get too much more wrong.
And to be fair as well, I did do kind of a video on the second channel about, what Dybala could really bring to Spurs. My feeling is that if any player he would be a good alternative for actually might be someone like Kulusevski, because Dybala, to be fair to him, is actually a bit similar. Never really been a pacey player, actually. Never really relied, a bunch on his athleticism or things. So if anybody that he'd be a good backup for or competition for, it actually would be Kulusevski, left-footed player. So he's offering something quite similar as well. Can even, play a bit through the middle, like let's say, and also could actually offer something a bit similar. So if any place he would fit in, I feel like it might be a bit more on that right wing. He could technically play as a second striker if we needed to play a 3-5-2 as well. So you could see some areas where he would fit in. But, does anybody have any other speculations maybe about it?
Just to add that, I mean, look, I'm not. It's not that I don't want the quality or I don't want the depth, because believe me, I do. I do want it, and I can definitely see what he can offer in terms of the 3 positions across the front or an option off the bench. I see that. But we've had players here before who were options. Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli, big money, who have lost the motivation. There's no point of having a guy in here as an option off the bench if he doesn't want to be here and money is his motivation, because he's not going to do anything. He's not going to change the game. He's not going to be that player that you want him to be, and we cannot fall into that trap.
Anybody else have any reservations, or actually, maybe anybody want to stick by Dybala on this one? What do you think? Is he the right
You're always going to
signing?
have reservations. You're always going to have about a player who's in the last year of his contract who seems to have, I won't say down tools, but he's certainly not getting on with his present employer, which would lead me to believe, is he a difficult character to manage?
I would disagree with that. They agreed.
I'm not saying he is. I'm just asking the question: is he difficult? I don't know.
They agreed a contract. The reason he's not signing a contract is they agreed a contract in November, and Juventus have gone back on that agreement. Okay. So actually, Dybala is showing that he is saying, if you do not give me what we agreed on, I'm gone.
Oh, fair enough. That's fine.
Juventus are a problem.
I knew there was something wrong with his contract, but I wasn't sure of the details of it. So thanks for that, Ben. That's good.
So
he's been there a while, though, to be fair, as well.
He's been a while, but he's shown nothing but respect to that fan base. He's not throwing his toys out the pram. He's not sulking. The weekend when he was their best player at Juventus, he was their best player. Dybala is still playing every single week, and he's been at his standard. So,
I suppose it's in the lap of the gods now. What happens? Whether does he want to do the Spurs? Say something that PSG came in for him. What's going to happen there? Yeah. Although at the moment, if I was choosing PSG or Accrington Stanley, I'd choose Accrington Stanley. The way the mess that PSG are in at the moment.
I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with PSG soon, because we don't know if Poch is going to be there. We don't know if Poch is going to be the manager of PSG come in the summer.
I think he'll be gone. He'll be gone.
It's bizarre that he's going to have Poch is going to have a meeting with Man United this week. It's a rumor, alleged rumors.
Ten Hag or Pochettino seems to be the case. Ten Hag or Pochettino.
So why would you go to a team that's rudderless? Why would you go to a Galacticos that are not Galactico in? It's just
maybe to settle the Dybala thing. For me, look, get Paratici to maybe put the deal in place, but let Conte have the final say. I think Conte's been around the block long enough to be able to speak to the guy and get that vibe off and what his motivation is with coming to Tottenham. And I think if Conte decides and wants to sanction and go ahead with the deal, then you go and get him. If Conte doesn't want him, you don't get him. There's no point in bringing the players the guy doesn't want.
No. I think in Conte we trust comes into action here.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely so.
That man knows what he's doing. If he wants Dybala, get him in. That's what we've been saying. We've not been asking for managers to be given stupid amounts of money.
Yeah.
What we've been asking for is if Antonio Conte says to Daniel Levy, I want Ashley Young at left back. I want him to get Ashley Young at left back. That is backing your manager. It's backing your manager. It isn't just giving him stupid amounts of money. It's by getting the players he asks for. He'll have a list. I want this player for this position, this player for this position, this player for this. Get him the players he wants, and Conte is happy because at least he knows the club have done their bit for him.
Even if he wants the kit man or the tea lady at center mid, you're going to have to listen to what he says. Absolutely. Ben.
Trust.
William Kelly saying, "Bring back Winky. I'm missing the Spursy passion."
I've more passion in my big toe for washing the dishes than what Winky does for football, if I'm honest with you. Look, please. I just want to settle one thing now, right? I'm not even going to go off on the guy. But I don't want to hear any more debates, Højbjerg or Winky. I don't want to hear it. Højbjerg is 10 times the player, Wink says. Since Bentancur has come in, he's completely exposed what Harry Winks wouldn't do, which is pass forward, drop into pockets of space, to receive the ball, to affect the game, rather than waiting for someone having to use you. He's also on the half turn. He always looks to get the ball forward. And look at the benefit that Kane, Son and Kulu are getting from that. I don't want to hear any more debates about this guy and Højbjerg anymore whatsoever.
One of these days, I'm going to have to get you boys to sit with me up in the Kaufman box, as I call it. Because in that position, and a lot of us have been saying, we've been looking at Højbjerg, what he does off the ball. That is even when you watch Bentancur off the ball, it's a thing of beauty. It's like watching, it's like Leonardo da Vinci painting.
It's poetry in motion.
It's magical. It's like finally there's some organisation at this football club. It's a conductor. It's like going to see Ennio Morricone and he comes out and he plays the ecstasy of gold. That's what it's like.
What I love about him, Benji, is that he'll see the ball somewhere, and instead of hurtling towards him like he's doing the 600 meter sprint, you know what I mean? He's like, okay, how can I receive that ball? I'll move into this pocket here and I'll demand it, or I'll move into this pocket here and I'll demand it. You know, he doesn't shy away from it whatsoever, and I absolutely love it. The work he does off the ball is why he's so good on the ball. It's absolutely brilliant. It's like Ben said. It's poetry in motion. I'd almost campaign to swap Bentancur and put him in the Mona Lisa. To be honest with you,
yeah.
Bentancur certainly could be painted with a picture, especially the way that we even broke down their average positions last night. It was just a thing of beauty. That 3-4-3 of the average position. It's just picturesque. Yeah, it really was. It's just something you want to put on the wall. William Kelly saying, we won't pay Dybala's wages. No way. 170K, 180K seems to be what he's asking for.
Yep.
Is that too much? Is that too much for Daniel Levy? Is that too much for the club, do you think?
No, because he pays Harry Kane 250.
It's an average wage, really.
Yeah, when you kind of think about it these days, I mean, probably fair, actually. It's probably actually a bit, average, to be fair, especially for someone who actually earns it, compared to someone like Ndombele, someone whose reputation actually precedes them. You would say Dybala, if anybody, is probably more worth that wage, if anything. Jerome saying, I want more Juve reject boys. If they play like Kulu and Bentancur, I want more of that. I think it was Chris who originally said that, just Juve rejects, just give me as many of them as possible. Keep them coming, come them through a factory line, just keep the Juve rejects coming, because it is quite funny, I must say, how many people probably originally didn't seem to be Kulusevski fans, didn't seem to be Bentancur fans, didn't show the faith, and then all of a sudden it seems like everybody's a Bentancur fan, everybody's a Kulusevski fan, and everybody's a fan of these Juve rejects, Jerome. And I would say Chris is, honestly, that was one of the best fan shows, was what he just kept saying that. He goes like, are there any more Juve rejects out there,
If you want to be angry at the club and you want to be angry at the transfer window, it's very easy to label them as Juve rejects. If you don't want to backtrack on your words on Paratici, it's very easy to say, oh, he went to his old club. It's not a good transfer window. But when you look at it now, you can't really argue. I mean, look at the two players come in. The one has completely transformed the midfield and has been the link between defence and getting the ball to the front line. And the other one has slotted in seamlessly beside Harry Kane and Sonny. They've been absolutely unbelievable signings. And I would actually say it's smart business. Juve got into Sakari and Vlahovic. They had to get two off the books. Tottenham profited from it. Rather than any other club take in a Kulusevski or a Bentancur, we went and got them and we profited from it. We would not have got these players under Steve Hitchen. He would have went out to Juve, he would have sampled the coffee, the pizza, and he would have came home and told us all about the trip, like a weekend vlog, Jack. It's absolutely ridiculous. Look what he done when he went out to Milan. He brought his business a pair of Paradas at Milan Fashion Week. He came home, told everybody about it. And we're sitting there, where's Skriniar? Is he in the suitcase? Did you book a private jet? Where is he? Oh, no, sorry, lads, spent the money on Prada. You know what I mean? It's absolutely ridiculous. So for me, look, these two guys coming in, I think it was an opportunity. Don't get me wrong, I do think it was an opportunist deal. I would say opportunist in a way. Look, we had Amrabat lined up, so we were getting a centre midfielder regardless. But the fact that Bentancur came available and Paratici knew he was a good player, Conte would have said, yeah, get me him in. He's exactly what we need in here. It was smart business this summer transfer window. Now, look, I said it was a 9 out of 10. Some people said I went overboard, but it wasn't, because we didn't panic. We didn't do quantity over quality just to appease the fan base, just to appease the pundits. We got the quality over quantity, which is what we needed. And we didn't overpay the odds. We acted very well in an opportunist market. January, you're never, ever going to get everything you want in the January transfer window. It's very hard to do because there's not a lot of movement, not a lot of activity. Now, yes, there are players that maybe we could have went for that we missed out on, maybe a Philip Coutinho and stuff like that. Digne, if people wanted him from Everton and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, we got in 2 signings that have come in, really done well in this team, and without them, we wouldn't be sitting here looking at top 4. So, look, it's very easy. Like I said, it's very easy to call Juve rejects and call Paratici, con Paratici because he went back to his old club. But if you look at it, he already knew what they were about. They were safe as houses to come in and do the job, and he brought them in and relied on them, and he got them right, in my opinion.
If you look back at the Monday night fan programs for early February, just after the 2 boys came, I think you'll find there was a lot of comments saying these guys are Juventus rejects, they're crap, they're no good. They were being judged after two matches of 20 minutes each. And I'm not going to say any more than that, but I mean, let's face it, those guys that made those criticisms should be eating humble pie now. And I don't want to see the same guys come in and say, oh, what great signings they were, because 2 months ago they were crap. No. So, let's just call a spade a spade. Give players time to bed in before judging them. And that did not happen. Those guys were judged after 20 minutes in a match.
Look, before they came in. They were judged before they came in.
And look, I can understand that we've all been angry at the club. It's been a long, hard season. But I just think we were developing a bit of a culture where people were coming in and straight away they weren't good enough, and we were making them a part of the problem. Sometimes you just have to allow people to get their feet in under the desk, let them find out what the club is about, and then act and do well. Paratici has come in, he's got his feet under the desk. Yes, okay, you can look at Galini, say he got it wrong, but at the end of the day, you can also look at it and say we didn't know what Hugo Lloris was doing with his contract. It was a smart option so that if we did have to go into the market for a goalkeeper, we weren't going to be extorted. You look at Gil. He's still going to be an unbelievable player for the future. He's out there ripping it up for Valencia. You look at Emerson. Look, I think he's good defensively going forward. I completely agree with everybody. He's not great whatsoever. But again, we had Kyle Walker loaned out at 22 years of age. And then you look at his last 3: Romero, Kulusevski, and Bentancur. You've named me 3 better signings over the last 5-10 years than these guys that have come in and had the effect they had on the team. Sometimes, even if it's not happening as quick as we would like it, sometimes you just got to be a small bit patient. You can't. People that are coming in to try and improve the problem, you can't make them a part of the problem. You got to give them time. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, no, patience is all we require.
I'd like to bring up this comment from Brycey, because we like Brycey, saying Hitchin was never the problem for any of his deals. Listen to what Alistair Gold said. If that's the truth, why didn't Hitchin leave? If he wasn't able to do his job, why did he do what his predecessor did, Phil Mitchell? Why did he stay there and take the money?
To be fair, let's just get this straight.
To be Levy's whipping boy. He was a crap director of football. He was crap. Paratici has come in and said, "You're an idiot. You don't know anything about signings. I'm doing this. I'm cleaning your kitchen and I'm cooking." Hitchin was allowing it to fester. If he thought this way and he didn't think he was able to do his job, he should have fucking left, because that's what his predecessor did. And I just want to 2 years too late.
Yeah.
2 years too late after someone came in, showed him how to do his own job, and said, "You're an idiot, Hitchin. You are an idiot."
Yeah.
So that's why he was pushed.
I just want to say to Bryce, and I do like Bryce, and look,
Bryce is a great guy.
It's a fair comment, right? It is a fair comment. But Bryce, what I would say to you is, why would we want to give Steve Hitchin a pass, but then we're so quick to have a go at Paratici? This is my problem. We're just giving Steve Hitchen a pass. At the end of the day, the way I see it, Bryce, and look, just hear me out. I'm not having a go at you. These are just my own opinions. Just, Bryce, let me know what you think. Look, whether we like it or not, Steve Hitchen spent over 300 million at this club, and he got most of the transfer dealings wrong. Now, if he's been given a budget and he's going out and saying, okay, yeah, we want Skriniar, but it's out of our price range, but then that's him. That's bad negotiations. Paratici's given the same budget. He's negotiated Romero, Bentancur, and Kulusevski in his last 3 deals with maybe nowhere near as big as of a budget. But with the budget, Paratici can manipulate that budget to get these players in. Steve Hitchen could not do that. He was being taken for a mug every single time. He's been given a budget of 70 million. He's coming back to Daniel Levy and saying, Inter Milan wants 77 million. And Daniel Levy's saying, well, look, I'm not giving you 77 million. Now, that's wrong. I believe 7 million, pay it, go and get it. I agree with you there, Bryce. But at the same time, Paratici goes out to say, for instance, for Skriniar, if it was Paratici, he goes out there, you want 77 million. Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll give you 50 million or 60 million up front. We'll give you so much in add-ons and we'll structure the deal and we get the player. That is the difference between the two, is how they were able to manipulate the budgets and negotiate. The money that Steve Hitchen has spent, we cannot give him a free pass. That's 350 million of somebody's money, somebody's hard-earned money. Now, I agree. Like I agree with you, Bryce, on a lot of things with Daniel Levy and all of that. But at the end of the day, that's somebody's money that's gone into that club, whether it's fans' money, whether it's from the owners or something like that. He has not spent that well. 350 million has been pissed down the pan. You cannot give the guy a free pass on that whatsoever.
You have to look at, and we broke this down before, you look at all of those signings and you maybe point out 1 or 2 that were successes, but the 1 or 2 that were successes were not the big money signings that he made. And the big money signings that he made were huge, huge flops. And I think that's where you just have to look at it. As much as I believe and I agree, Hitchen was limited, Hitchen was held back. Like David just said, when you're given a check of 300 million, I don't know, like I would say half of the second channel would have done better, with the money that was available to them, to be fair. And that's where Hitchen is just pointed out. Another point, maybe going back to Jerome's comment, is maybe what actually makes Paratici a bit better is he also has more of a reputation than Hitchen does, which means then he can negotiate with a bit more. It's almost like purchasing power or like legitimacy. He has a bit more legitimacy than Hitchen does. So he's actually able to negotiate with these Italian clubs in a more of an effective way and more of probably a realistic way than Hitchen was. Hitchen, as much as he might have been a decent scout, didn't really have the reputation as a director of football. And so there were people probably taking advantage of him. There were people that were kind of, like David said, playing him out to kind of be a bit of a mug to a degree, where Paratici is someone that has, maybe regardless of what you think of him, has more of a reputation in the game. So he does, know his way around the block and wasn't being taken advantage of. Where I must say, like, you look at some of the deals Hitchen made, it kind of looked like he was taken advantage of, or really wasn't able to put his footmark in sort of, or his footprint on the transfer. He just simply was outplayed or just outmaneuvered. And I think that's another way you just simply have to look at it. For me personally, I agree that Hitchen was held back. I mean, believe me, it's not easy working under Daniel Levy, but I must say, even a plug for the second channel again, I've even made videos about if I had a Daniel Levy budget, what would I get? And I'm pretty sure some of the signings that I would have made would have worked out a lot better than the ones Hitchen had made. And I think that's just, again, a sign of Hitchen, to be fair, probably a good scout, but director of football, I think, was clearly above his pay grade. Clearly above his pay grade.
To take over hosting duties for a second, but I'm going to ask the questions to the panel. Would you rather, the chat can also answer this, would you rather spend £19 million on Bentancur or 60 million on Tanguy and Ndombele?
There he goes.
Who signed which player? Steve Hitchen signed Ndombele, Mr. McDonald's, Mr. KFC. Paratici signed Bentancur for £19 million.
Good point.
Who would you rather? Unless 100%.
Exhibit A.
Because I already know what you're going to answer. You're going to say Bentancur. That tells you. When as soon as he gets a bit of money in his pocket, it gets too hot for him and he has to spend it. So he spends it on crap. And one uses his connections, uses his buying power. He knows people understand him. He's got knowledge of football. He knows the manager that he's managing. It's not difficult to see what he did.
And it looks like we're going to be stuck with Ndombele next season because he's hardly pulling up trees at Lyon at the moment.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. But the thing is, I do think it's important to stress that, I do agree with Bryce that, there is always an element that Steve Hitchen would sell back, the same as Paul Mitchell, etc., etc. But at the end of the day, Bryce, I think where I'm coming from is look, at the end of the day, even though we don't want Levy here, he's here. And what I would rather is someone that will work under Levy and just get the job done that needs to be done, even though it's under constraints and all. For the time being, while the guy is here, I'd rather someone that will work underneath him and can get the best value for us out of the money that we are going to spend, rather than someone that makes all the excuses in the world for not getting a deal done and then goes and panics by. And that's where I'm coming from, Bryce, with that, and that's all, my man. But you're 100% right. Look, it's not all Steve Hitchen's fault, but we cannot give him a pass for pissing 350 million down the pot.
Yeah, I think that's well said, Dave. Is like we said, he's been held back. He certainly wasn't given a fair rap, by Daniel Levy. But to say that he didn't make mistakes and on his own account, is, I think, just being a bit too nice to the guy. And that's all it is, just being too nice to him, I think is all it really is. It's nothing much bigger than that.
Good point, though, Bryce.
It's a good point.
Moondog saying, I would love Dybala at Spurs. I mean, I think we would all love Dybala at Spurs, to be fair, Moondog. And like maybe brought up before, he's actually the quality signing that we've been looking for. We've been kind of just frustrated with the fact that, like David said before, Tanguy, maybe he can do a job when he comes off the bench. Maybe Bergwijn can do a job when coming off the bench. It's all these ifs and maybes. And with Dybala, and with Dybala, this is a quality player that could actually offer something to this team in the moments that you need it. And what I do like about this Dybala signing, the more that I think about it, with what we like about what Kulusevski brings, with that sort of intelligence, that kind of movement, that kind of, dependence on being more creative than pacey and things like that, I would say Dybala would actually offer something extremely similar, which actually gives me a bit of hope about what he could do at Spurs. But big up, Moondog, my man. Angel Matos in the building. Good to see you again, my man. Saying, if we could assume £125 million summer budget, do you think we'd be better off with 5 £25 million signings or 3 £40 million signings? To be honest, I think we need 5 signings. I think we need 5 signings. So to answer the question deliberately and literally, if I were to answer the question literally, I would say you just have to make 5 signings, to be honest, because we need 5 signings.
Yeah, look, it has to be 5 signings, but it doesn't really matter how much they cost. At the end of the day, it's all about, what position it is. Is it a position we need? And is it going to add quality to what we have? Basically, are they going to come in and start in this team, or are they not? If they're not, I don't want them here. It's that simple. You've got to buy players that are going to come in and improve this first 11. Cost is irrelevant. It's all about the quality and what the manager wants.
But the last time we had money to spend was the Bale transfer money. And we went out. We went out it was like buying in Tesco. I'll take that one. There was no thought put into it.
Yeah.
And the only player, I think the only one that really lasted any length out of that lot was Eric Miller. Ericsson as well. Yeah. The rest of them, can you remember the rest of them? It was Kirichez or Kirichez? Was he one of them?
Yeah, Churches.
Churches and
Kujo.
Ericsson.
They were panic buys a lot of the time. We've got money to spend. The kids in a sweet shop. Getting one of them and one of them.
Yeah.
And
really
nowadays, if that same money comes to ourselves, I think Paratici will be a lot more careful where he spends it.
Great question, Angel. Great question, my man.
We're not really going to be. We're not going to be spending 40 minutes. We might be really surprised at something. We might buy a Stefan de Vrij, which he might only cost £15 million. When we'll need this, we need specialist players for specialist positions.
Yeah.
That's what we need. We're not asking for stupid amounts of money spent. Back to my original point. We need the players the manager wants and the reason he wants them, and we get them. It's building a team in a workplace. It's like, what do you need? Oh, I need a cook that can make me a pizza. I need me a barista. I need a bar person. That's what you need. You don't say, you need those 3 positions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get you Doris the tea lady, and I'm going to put her on the laundromat. We need the players we need for their respective positions, and that's what we're going to go for.
Oh, yeah. Ben, I'm loving this. I'm loving this tonight from you, Ben. Absolutely on fire. Big up, Angel Matos, though. Really appreciate the question and the donation, my man. Bobby K, just wanted to say hello to you, my man. Good to see you in the house. Good to see you in the house, my man. Hopefully you're keeping well. And Jerome again in here with a great question. Jerome, also really good to see you as well. Saying, boys, do you think Pape Matar Sarr is going to be successful at our club since he is coming in the summer, or is he just going to be another one for the under-23s? This is a really difficult question because I think we all want to assume that Pape Matar Sarr is just going to be fitting right into, the squad. Of course, I don't think he's taking a starting position by any means right away, but we all probably hope that he would be someone that maybe when called upon, especially maybe when players need a bit of rest, maybe someone pulls up an injury or something, he is someone that could offer that bit of quality that maybe we're looking for. But then again, the guy is certainly still quite young, and being that young and that talented can also be a bit raw. Players like that can be a bit raw. I personally would like to think, from what we've seen from Pape Matar Sarr, I know like he hasn't performed to the same heights that he did last season as he did this season, but I'd like to think that there is undoubtedly an unreal player in there. And I'd like to think that maybe as the third or fourth choice sort of center mid, he would probably have no business being near the under-23s. I do expect him to be available in the squad. And he also does exactly what Conte needs. He needs a sort of a box-to-box midfielder. Also, Pape Matar Sarr, from what I've seen, can be sort of a deep-line playmaker to a degree that we've been kind of looking for. Not like the starting deep-line playmaker that we need, don't get me wrong, but can actually play a variety of roles in that center mid position that we actually have been looking for me. But maybe to you, Ben and Philip, start with Philip first. Do you feel like Pape Matar Sarr, could he, maybe not impress right away? Could he fall into the under-23s, or do you feel like maybe he would be available to us?
I think he's playing the struggling team at the moment, and I'm not sure how much game time he's getting. I haven't really been following him. But I'm just hoping that he's not this year's version of Jack Clark.
He's not playing at all, Philip.
Yeah, I guess as much, yeah. Which is bad, which doesn't bode well, really. We'd like a player to get experience and be well versed in, playing a lot of matches before he comes to us. Like, the guy has undoubted talent, but I think we're just going to have to wait and see whether he either does what, unfortunately, most French players who come to Spurs do, and that is not make the grade, unfortunately, with a few exceptions, Hugo Lloris being the main one. But I hope to God he is a good acquisition, but we'll just have to wait till next summer and see where he fits in and where he fits into Conte's plans. Because he wasn't a Conte buy, so you don't know whether Conte, is a fan of his or not.
Yeah.
Hopefully he's a Conte type player, but we'll have to wait and see.
Ben, when we first signed him, everybody was absolutely delighted because we saw the stats. We, met it with the highlights as well, and we were like, "There's definitely a player in there." Also considering the age and everything of the kid. I mean, do you feel like maybe this season has put a bit of hindsight on, the transfer, or do you think maybe there's something else going on maybe with his club?
What we've got to do is we've got to do the
because I feel like we all loved him in the beginning.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We've got to do the opposite of what all Tottenham fans do. We've got to let this boy come into the club and grow. We can't do what we do with all these other players that come in and immediately hype them up like there's some sort of Greek god. We've got to let them get into the team.
I will though, Ben. I will.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's the problem. Let them get into the club. Let them get their feet under the. Like you've been saying all day, Dave. Get them their feet under the table. Let's let them settle in. Let's get them in the culture. Get someone to put their arm around his shoulder. Get him next to Hugo Lloris. He's the perfect person. He's French. So, all right, boy. This is the way you act at a proper football club, and he will thrive. I mean. A lot of us in the chat are saying that it's because the manager knows he's leaving, so he doesn't want to play a player that he knows he's not going to have in his team, which is a possibility. But we've got to let the boy learn. He's 19 years old. He's still going to have some growing to do. So that we've got to game by game. We've just got to let him enjoy his time, what it's like being at a big football club. Put him around a Højbjerg, a Bentancur. It's not like he's coming in like when Tongi came in. He has 3 bad people around him. Dele, Sissoko, and Oria. He's got role models around him this time. As long as you put him round big characters that know what they're doing, he will grow. It's going to be brilliant.
For me,
but you know what he's playing at the minute? He's playing in a team, or he's in the squad for a team that's second from bottom of the French league and look very much like they're going to go down this season. Yeah. So it can't be a very good atmosphere or environment for him to be in at the minute, because they're obviously struggling. And if he can't get a team in a struggling team, it's, if he's that much talent, I think the manager would bite the bullet and play him an odd time.
The positive argument you can make was they weren't really flirting so much with relegation last season when he was playing regularly. And now when he isn't playing, they're near the bottom. So you could make that positive argument where maybe with him not playing, they've actually been a much worse team without him.
Yeah, maybe. You don't
I don't want to say that the whole team is based around him, but I can't say that confidently. But you could argue that there maybe is some sort of correlation between them being a lot better last season when he was playing regularly versus this season when he hasn't been playing. But Jerome, it's a really good question, my man. And sorry to.
Yeah. For me, look, I actually don't think we should be hinging our hopes on this young guy coming in and being a miraculous coming in and improving the team. Look, at the end of the day, you don't know what the guy is going to offer. You don't know how he's going to settle in London. And Ndombele didn't settle too well, did he? Lo Celso didn't settle too well. So you just don't know what this guy. Look, for me, like I said, there was a guy brought in the summer called Chris Perkins. He's been in charge of identifying young talent. So some of the young talent you are coming here, seeing here, it doesn't, even though Paratici is the one structuring the deals, it doesn't necessarily mean it's him. It's him that's targeting them, because there is a guy, Chris Perkins, who was brought in to do this job, to get some of the best young talent into the underage squads or out on loan and prime them and get them ready for the first team. And I think that's what you're going to see here with this guy. I definitely think, by all means, if we're asking, do we need to sign another centre midfielder because we have this guy coming in? Yes, we do. We need to sign somebody else to help out Skip, Højbjerg and Bentancur. This guy, look, he may prove me wrong, come in and hit the ground running, but at Tottenham Hotspur, I don't think we should be banking on it because it is an unknown quantity. We've been burnt from the French league so many times in Kudu and G and Ndombele. We haven't got good signings from the French league. Outfield players anyway. We've got Hugo Lloris. He was a good signing for goalkeeper, but for me, look, we shouldn't be hinging on a 21-year-old to come in and turn us into fucking a Champions League team that season. It's not going to happen.
You've just made a very good point there, Dave. Those three names you just read out, they all begin with N. In Ndombele, in G, in Kudu. Yeah. They don't sign players with N at the start of their name. I think that's
some people call
it a curse. Great question, though, Jerome. Great question. A good point there, Dave, actually. I think that's actually a good, kind of basis is, I think the point is, can he come into the team and be a good squad player for us, be that good talent for us? I would say yes. Is he going to come into the team and change everything and fix all of our problems? Definitely not. And I think we could probably all agree on
what
that.
He does do, though, Jack, is he provides competition to Harvey White, Alfie Devine, that if they do want to get into the first team, they're going to have to be better than this guy. So that's what he does do. He provides competition for these guys to maybe improve and go to another level and prove that they are good enough to get to this first team, give them a new hunger, give them a new desire. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens when he comes here.
Moondog in the house saying, now we're getting players to fit into the team and not the team to fit around the players.
Good point.
Beautiful.
This really speaks to what Ben was saying earlier, where, if what Conte wants is somebody that's actually young, if what Conte wants is a £5 million player, not a £50 million player, so be it. If what Conte wants is the kit man, to turn into right wing back, so be it. That's exactly what we've been failing at this club. We continue to buy signings that don't seem to fit maybe what the manager is trying to instill. And not for once, this could be the last opportunity, you could say. If probably the last opportunity is well gone, but this is a great opportunity for the club to finally make signings that the manager knows that he can work with, not signings that are for the future, for other managers, or just for the club, just for the market and everything like that, to sell kits and whatnot. Players that Antonio Conte knows that he can succeed with. And Moondog, couldn't put it better myself, my man.
Big up, Moondog. Big up, Moondog. Really appreciate the support. And Gaguma, it's good to see you in as well. It's good to see you. Let me know if you checked out the match day vlog. It was absolutely awesome, but it's good to see you, Gaguma. Everybody keep smashing that like button, guys. Keep smashing that subscribe button, guys. And feel free to help support the channel, everybody. And keep getting your answers in the chat. More importantly, I'm enjoying them. I'm reading them, and I'm enjoying the answers. But
And
look,
Harrison
Jack,
Brownlee. And Harrison Brownlee. Really do appreciate the comment as well, Harrison. And Goguma, as always, good to see you. Good to see you, Goguma. Moving on, everybody, to the question that everybody's so confused about here. There has been a report by Sky Sports reporter, maybe Fraud Sports, as you know, as you know, Philip will probably tell me, but Sky Sports reporter Michael Bridge, and this came from Spurs Web, is another sort of Spurs source as well. Michael Bridge of Sky Sports says, and he believes that Japhet Tanganga might have played his last games for Tottenham Hotspur this season. If this is true, do you feel like this is the right decision for both the club and the player? Dave, I haven't gone to you, first yet. So if it's all right if I go to you first, I know I'm kind of leaving you out here. What are your thoughts? Like, does this sound true? Does this make sense? What are your feelings about this? Could this be just made up, or do you feel like there is maybe some validity to this?
I would say there's maybe a bit of truth to it. Look, the guy, it's so frustrating because the guy's played against Liverpool on his debut. Outstanding. Man City, the start of the season, he walked out with 250 million in his arse pocket. You know what I mean? Against the bigger teams, he's really turned up, but then he's had some really shaky moments. I mean, you go back to the games against Chelsea, very disappointing, very nervy, probably at fault for a couple of goals. Look, it's been very up and down with the guy. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know whether he's had them couple of appearances and he thinks he's made it and he's slacked off, or whether injury has kind of really hampered his progress. You look at the amount of the injuries the guy has had. I would say it's more that it's the injuries that have hampered his progress. He hasn't been able to probably get a proper run in the team. The sending off he got at the start of the season probably didn't help that either when he was in the team. So look, for me, looking at Antonio Conte and looking where he wants to go, I think it is the end for Tanganga here. Now, whether we decide to loan him or sell him, I'm not sure. I look, if we're still giving Carter Vickers loan spells, I'd much rather loan Japhet Tanganga out just for a year or two, just to see whether he can develop into maybe the Ledley King like I compare him to. But look, if we're being honest, Tanganga, Sanchez and Rodon, it's not good enough quality for backup. When they do come in, it's costly. We've seen it, especially with Sanchez and Tanganga this season. And for me, look, I know he's been injured in that, but does Conte trust him? I don't think so. And for me, I think it probably could be his last game for Tottenham. Yeah.
Wow. Ben.
That's sad to say because he's homegrown, and I love every homegrown player. It's very sad to say, and I really wanted it to work out for him, but it just looks like with the injuries and some of the hard season he's had this season when he's come in, I just think it's going to be hard for him to get back into the team.
Exactly, Dave, and you transitioned me really well here. And Ben, he's had some really memorable performances for this club, and I would say performances that were so good that you could say it showed that there is a player in there, if you know what I mean. Like, he's had quality performances, but what do you think happened to Tanganga? What went wrong?
I think Tanganga doesn't have technical ability. I've said this for a long time. He doesn't have technical ability. He's much more of a player that likes to get back down with it. He likes to get physical.
It's like a Sean Dyche kind of guy or something
like that. He is a Sean Dyche guy. He's not an Antonio Conte guy. He's not. He was great for Jose Mourinho because that's what Jose Mourinho likes in the centre-back. He likes his centre-back to have a fight and then boot it out. And hopefully it goes to Harry Kane. For me, he doesn't have the technical ability. As I don't know who said it in the chat. Someone says, I don't see him. He doesn't have a danger sense, which is what all defenders should have. They should sense danger. And he showed that he's naive. Whether that's him being a young kid, probably is. So maybe do loan him out. Maybe it is loaning out is probably the best thing to do and see how he does on loan. I don't want to see him sold immediately because, again, he's a Tottenham boy and we don't want to see him sold immediately. I mean, Harry Winks has been given a career for 10 years and we've still got him in the club. So maybe give Japhet a chance to learn his trade under a Sean Dyche, under someone that knows football, a student of the game, a Chris Wilder would be amazing for someone like Japhet Tanganga. Someone that will really put his arm around them and say, right, we're going to teach you the game of football. But I don't think he's got a technical ability to play in a Conte side.
I agree.
It'll probably be the end of him. One of the reasons why I didn't agree with some of the things said Ledley King, because Ledley King had one of the best technical abilities of any footballer I've ever seen ever. And that's that period. He was one of the greatest players of a football. It showed what Romero's doing now with drifting forward. Ledley King was doing that 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And everyone thought it was like genius and that.
Yeah.
So I think Japhet is much more of a meathead centre back. He might prove me wrong. I hope he does. As well, for all players, I hope they all prove me wrong. But I don't think he's going to make it in this system. He's not going to make it in a three at the back.
I think you hit the nail on the head when you said it. Is he technically good enough to be in a Conte side? I think you hit the nail on the head there. Probably not.
To be fair, I think that's the same problem. I think with Joe Rodon as well. Genuinely, I just think that's my problem with Joe Rodon. It's always been my problem with him as well. Is that I just don't think he's, as much as I know he has good performances and is a no-nonsense defender, you say the same thing with Tanganga. No-nonsense defender, physical, likes to get stuck in, but there are times when you're just like, he needs to be better on the ball. He needs to be more technically gifted in order to be playing for what should be a top four side. If we're talking about a top four side, those guys, it's sad to say, but just don't cut it. And I think it's sadder to say in the case of Tanganga because he is one of our own versus Joe Rodon. But I mean, Philip, what are your thoughts on this? Like I said, he had some memorable performances, but what do you think went wrong?
And Philip, do you also think Harrison Brownlee has a point here where he says, is it because maybe he's been thrown into the deep end and hasn't had that time to develop, maybe go out on loan?
Yeah, good question.
I mean, if you look at the history of Spurs down the years, Harry Kane went out in about 10 loans, I think. Kyle Walker went out in a number of loans. Yeah. And look what they came back and did. Japhet Tanganga, okay, it's irrelevant for the rest of the season because he's injured. He's gone for the season, right? So he's not going to feature between now and May. I don't want him sold. He's homegrown. He's a Tottenham lad. There is a good player in there. Like Ben was saying, a very carefully selected loan to a manager who can bring out the best in him is what he needs for a season. Then bring him back and see if the improvement's there, and then make your decision. But I certainly wouldn't sell him now because he's had a few, dodgy games. If that's the case, half our squad's on the bus. You know. So I give him a chance. I mean, I said at the start of the season, I thought Tanganga would be in the England squad by the end of the season. Yeah. No, I haven't been proved right there. But I do think in the future he will be. And I hope at that stage he's still a Spurs player, albeit a much improved one. Give the guy time.
In your time supporting Spurs, have you seen someone that maybe has been in Tanganga's situation where they've been brought in, it hasn't worked out, they've been sent on loan and come back and they've been a much better player?
Great question.
Let me see now. I'm trying to think back. I suppose that in recent times, in the last 10 years or so, the best example of that was Kyle Walker.
Yeah.
Kyle Walker went on loan.
He was wrong.
Harry Kane obviously is the ultimate example. Danny Rose, Danny Rose up to a point. But, again, a lot depends on what does Conte rate him?
Yeah.
Right?
He gave him a chance. He gave him a good chance.
He gave him a chance, but is he prepared to give him another one? The fact that he wasn't a regular in the team when he was fit would lead me to believe that Conte has kind of made up his mind on him. And but I certainly do think the guy still has a future at Spurs, but he needs to go somewhere else to get a fresh impetus and fresh outlook on the game. And someone, as you mentioned, Sean Dyche, Chris Wilder, someone like that. Even to go down to Bournemouth and let, Scott Parker put his hand on. Because there is still a player there. I would hate Tanganga to be transferred to someone and absolutely blow everybody away. And that's happened a few times with Spurs players. I don't want to see it happen with him,
I definitely don't think he should be sold anywhere near ahead before Cameron Carter-Vickers gets sold, to be honest with you. There's no way we can bring him in and write him off and sell him while Cameron Carter-Vickers is still on the books at Tottenham.
Well, I mean, he's in all fairness, Vickers is doing quite well at Celtic this season.
But to be fair, what if Tanganga were in that position? Maybe Tanganga would, be having the same sort of season. Maybe
Celtic wouldn't be a bad move for him. Because let's face it, like he's going to be okay. He's not going to be playing top class players every week, but he's going to get experience of the rough and tumble of the Scottish game. And it's not easy playing up there.
We don't need a centre back with rough and tumble. We need a centre back that can get the ball and pass it, because that's the system we're playing.
That's true. Instead of hoofing
that's
50
why
yards.
Romero is the ultimate centre back. He loves the rough and tumble. When Romero sees a player coming towards him, he licks his lip and gets his napkin off. But when he gets after he's absolutely annihilated someone like a cruise missile, he's like, right, now I can start being the artist I am. And he starts passing that's the difference. Japhet can do a tackle, but he can't pass. We need a player to get the ball, bring it out, and pass the ball. We need our centre backs to be able to be gifted. We're not.
Yeah, that's true. You're very well. You're absolutely spot on.
We are a team that wants to challenge for titles, and you can't have that with teams that just boot the ball. Centre back that boots the ball out. We need him to be able to pass.
Ball playing centre backs. A ball playing centre back. That's what we need.
What we need.
Ben, sometimes you remind me of Maxi, it's just such a straight talker. I feel like Ben is, gives you the straight answers, even if it's not maybe what, maybe we want to hear. Moondog, I do want to just go to Defoe Dudas here, and I'm going to come straight back to this because I think he's raising something that's really on topic with what we're saying here. Defoe Duda, good to see you in here, saying Japhet was linked with AC Milan. He should make a move there. Look at Tomori. Playing with Maldini around as the technical director will do him good. I've said this before about Tanganga. One, these rumors were kind of about with him maybe moving, him maybe needing a bit time away from Spurs. If he is going to try to improve that technical side that Ben is saying needs to be improved right away, which I completely agree. I feel like him going to a Burnley is more in his comfort zone. And he isn't going to develop that technical side. If he is going to develop that technical side of his game, I actually would say a move to a Serie A, a move to a Bundesliga, or whatever it may be, where you do need to be more of a technical center back than you do more of a no-nonsense center back, actually might do him a world of good. Because if he is going to develop a technical side of his game, if there even is a technical side of his game in there, I think he'd be better off finding it away from the Premier League with a club that could help him develop that, like maybe an AC Milan, like maybe another Serie A side, or even, who knows, like a La Liga or Bundesliga side. I think that would be his best choice. Also, good of a learning experience from him, maybe. He has to develop, a different type of game. He has to develop a different type of defending style to a different system, because we know the way the Serie A works, the way players attack you is very different to the Premier League. Same thing with other leagues as well. I think that could actually help Tanganga more than anything. And Defoe Duda, like I said, a lot of people tonight, Dave, I would say, are doing my job for me with these sort of transitions.
I just want to apologize to Paul G. I went to block that Trang Lee guy who's just been putting in, come on, you're going to Spurs this year. I think his mommy forgot to turn the internet off. He's getting brave after 11, big man. But look, I meant to actually put him in timeout, but I think Paul G put in a comment and it ended up moving up, and I put Paul G in timeout for 5 minutes. So I just apologize, Paul G, if you're watching. It wasn't supposed to happen.
You gave the red card to the wrong player, David.
Yeah, I did. I made a critical error. I'm like Harry Kane passing it back to Dyer at the weekend, and he ends up goes to Antonio. I apologize, Paul, man. I do apologize.
Like Andre Mariner is, he's coming.
Red card for Dave. Red card.
Red card for Dave. But Defoe Duda is setting me up perfectly here. And this is how I think we finish this Tanganga's conversation is, what is the best club for Tanganga? I know Burnley, like we said, is a good club for him because that is his comfort zone. But I guess there are two ways of answering it, because if Tanganga were to leave forever, I would say Burnley is a perfect club for him if he were to leave forever. But if we wanted to give him a chance to come back to Spurs after a loan, I don't think that's the right move, everybody. So let's maybe answer the first part of, if he were to go on loan and come back to us later and improve his game, what would be the best club for him? I mean, Philip, what do you have any ideas? What would be a good club for him?
I know it's Burnley. If he goes to Burnley, he'd become an expert in kicking the ball 75 yards.
If he goes to West Ham, he'd be an expert at kicking cats.
Exactly, yeah. And if he goes to someone like Bournemouth or he goes to Middlesbrough, Sheffield, or Chris Wilder, he'll become a better player. I don't think Sean Dyche's style of football would suit Tanganga, and then in turn would not suit Spurs. You know, Burnley are a kick and run team who, by the way, are going to get their comeuppance against us in a couple of weeks' time. We need revenge on them. So no, he needs to go to a team that plays a footballing team like Bournemouth or Middlesbrough or someone like that, or AC Milan. Why not? You know, if I think
the championship,
he'll certainly develop technically in Italy. You know,
it's sink or swim over there probably when it comes to technical, ability, and he would have to develop it. And maybe there actually would be coaches there that could also help him in that sort of regard. They brought, like we said, with Tomori. I don't know much about Tomori before he went to AC Milan, but maybe that, if I were to speculate, maybe that technical side wasn't as much in there, and then they were able to bring it out of him. Also him playing alongside Kier, I think helped a lot, because Kier is a really technically gifted center back. That sort of relationship maybe helped, Tomori develop. But for you, Ben, if we wanted Tanganga to come back, what would be the best club for him if he were to come back?
I think it would be Mr. Chris Wilder's Middlesbrough. I think he needs to play for a footballing team. And most importantly, what system does Chris Wilder play? He plays a 3-5-2, which is very similar to what we're playing. So we need to get him suited to a formation that's going to be able to suit him to come back into a Tottenham team.
Yeah.
We cannot send him to a team that can play as a completely different system to us, because he's just going to get confused. We need to find a team that works for him, and then hopefully he will come back a better player. But I'm very worried because I don't see a technical ability. I see someone that gets into a fight and then loses the fight and then gets angry and then gets himself sent off.
For me, just quickly, I just believe that Tanganga, he just has to go where he's going to start, where he's going to play a week in, week out, because it's going to be the only benefit to him. There's no point of sending him. Look, Milan would be nice, but is he going to start in the Milan team? I'm not so sure. There's no point in sending him somewhere where he's just going to train and he has to fight to get into the team. He could do that at Tottenham. You got to send him somewhere where he's going to play week in, week out, because it's the only way he's going to learn, being better on the ball, by having to do it week in, week out. It's the only way he's going to learn defensively and, the tricks of the trade. It's the only way he's going to learn to channel his aggression in the right way, which is playing week in, week out. He has to go somewhere to learn, to make the mistakes, to learn from them, to become better. Going somewhere just to train, he may as well stay at Tottenham.
Or maybe a German team. Germany, I think, would be perfect for him, because he would still have the physicality of the Premier League, but maybe...
And the pace for that league.
Yeah. He might be perfect for Germany. I don't know much about German football, but a German team would be very decent for him, like a Mönchengladbach or someone that's going to be able to play him in sort of a good position, so he can be that ball playing quick centre back. So maybe it'd work, but we've got to pick the team perfectly. So I
agree. I think it's actually each league is respective to their own. Serie A, you would say he would definitely right away have to learn that sort of ball playing ability, because you have a bit more time on the ball. But with having a bit more time on the ball, it's not like you can just pass it sideways. Like, they're not going to let you do that. They're going to make you have to ping it. They're going to make you have to switch play. They're going to make you have to be more of a developer of the attack, out of the back. With the Italian league. In the German league, it's just so basketball-like and fast-paced that in that league, it's like you have to be quick on the ball. I would say in the Bundesliga, it's actually similar to the Premier League in that regard. You can't just dwindle on the ball. Someone will take you off it. So maybe Tanganga, that could help him out. I personally think if we want him back, I would rather he actually leave the Premier League and come back, get a bit of experience, maybe learn something new, maybe learn a new trade that could then be brought into the Premier League that might develop his game, and also maybe a type of trade that maybe he just couldn't learn maybe in the Premier League, you could say, or even in the Championship or anything. But if he were to leave permanently, which really does pain me to say, I think I would love him at a Burnley. I would love him at a Burnley if he were to leave permanently. But if we want him back, I think, away from this league is actually the best choice for him. But
I'll be honest with you, Jack. If he leaves permanently, I couldn't care where he goes or what he does. To be honest with you,
I have a soft spot for Burnley, so maybe that's why.
I
have a soft spot for Burnley and Sean Dyche, so maybe that would be why. Because then I could just still secretly kind of root for him over there. But Moondog saying, or unless actually anybody final words on Tanganga, maybe quickly, or
No, I think I've got my words.
We covered it well.
No, that's it.
I think we covered it well.
Moondog.
Yeah. Moondog asking, the best summer news for me is to hear them words, Winks has left the club. Moondog.
Honestly, I actually think we'd have to have a party, a celebration of some sort.
Yeah, maybe just bring everybody on.
Just one party, Dave? I think we need about 5 parties all over the world. One in Singapore, one in Los Angeles. We'd have to go all over the world. It's going to be a 5-day bender.
Because like Skippy can replace what he does on the squad list, which is the homegrown coming from the youth academy. Look, it just hasn't worked out for the guy, and it's time we moved him on. Skip can offer everything that he's offered on the squad selection for the FA and stuff, and a lot more on the pitch. For me, I think it is the best news. I think we've just got to move on. We've got to accept that he's not good enough, because what happens is he comes in for a period of 10 games. He starts off, he plays the 2 very well. Everyone's sitting there. Oh, look what he can do. Maybe he can break the lines. He can do this. He can do that. Well, we never fall into that trap again, because Bentancur's come in and within a couple of months has completely shown us exactly what this fraud doesn't do. And he just doesn't have the ability to do it. He doesn't have the bravery to do it. Winks is a stat padder. That's why he goes 5-10 yards sideways. And Bentancur is a winner. That's why he passes forward. So for me, it's about time we just moved on from Harry Winks. We have to. It's for the benefit of Tottenham. I say this for the benefit of our club and for the benefit of Tottenham. Not because I hate the guy, not because I have a personal agenda against him. And I know some fans don't want to hear it, but I say this for the better of Tottenham. We do not need him anymore. We have to move on.
Winks needs to go to Spain, where his game is actually appreciated. He needs to go to Spain. It just does not work in the Premier League. But even in Europe, it hasn't worked for Winks. It's time he went. He's been here too long. It's the same thing we had with Ryan Mason.
He needs to step out of his comfort zone. Yeah. I think he needs to go to a club where, to be honest, he doesn't have the Wink fan club, following him around and everything. He needs to earn respect, I think, someplace else. That's what I think is best for him. And maybe the best club for him is actually, again, another player maybe better off actually outside the Premier League, outside the English system.
Spain would be amazing for Winks, because that's sort of his game, passing the ball sideways and backwards, keeping control of the game. In the Premier League, one touch, bang, down the channel. He doesn't want to do that. He likes to take 10 years to do anything. By that time, 10 years is done, we're all bored to tears. It's time to go, Winksy. I'm sorry, buddy. But it's the same with Ryan Mason. Ryan Mason, it was time to go. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, and it ended up really horribly. But
we were pretty brutal to Tom Carroll as well. So
Tom Carroll as well was another player. Tom Carroll.
Why didn't Winks? Yeah, but we were brutal to him. Why weren't we brutal to Winks is maybe the question.
Another one that's got to go.
Moondog saying, I refuse to do an engraving.
Come on, Moondog.
That would be painful.
Unless it's on a dartboard currently.
Big up, Moondog. That's quality. That is quality. Big up, Moondog. William Kelly.
This one first, actually. I had the order right, I think.
Oh, my bad.
No problem. Grand Prix Gold, Tottenham Tantrum Gold, Grand Prix Gold saying, over the years, we've seen many great Spurs sides from over the years. A question to the panel. Which was your greatest Spurs era as a fan? Wow, this is going to show my age. This question.
Well, yeah, I'm screwed, aren't I?
Yeah, Ben and I are going to be a bit embarrassed for our age here, but might as well just start with the Godfather.
I'm just going to hide right here.
To answer, best era for you. Best era for you.
I have to say there was 2 best eras. I'm going to cheat. Now, when I was a very young kid now in the 60s, when we won, I wasn't around when we won the double, but I was, but not supporting them. The Jimmy Greaves era from 61 to 69, 70, that was absolutely unbelievable. The amount of trophies we won. I think we won, 3 FA Cups, a Cup Winners' Cup, and then we went on to win the League Cup a couple of times in the early 70s. And then the Keith Birkinshaw era, the Aussie Adilas 1978 to 82 era was probably the next best. when we won the FA Cup twice, and we literally revolutionised football by bringing in the two Argentinians, which completely blindsided everybody in football at the time. There was absolute shock that Tottenham pulled down. Absolute mayhem.
They had a really good World Cup, didn't they, Philip?
Well, I'll tell you the story behind that. Ozzy Ardiles had an absolutely fantastic World Cup. Ricky Villa was more of a bit player. He played some games. He wasn't a regular in the Argentinian team. But when Birkinshaw came in for Ardiles said he wouldn't come to London unless he had his wingman with him. And that's how we got Ricky Villa as well. And we were really only in for Ozzy Ardiles because he was probably the best midfield player in the 78 World Cup. But Ricky Villa came along with him, and the rest is history, And but I remember being they came over to Dublin to play a pre-season friendly in Dalymount Park against Bohemians with Glenn Hoddle. They were just after being promoted back to the First Division at that stage, and the crowd was packed to the rafters because this is two Argentinians playing for Spurs in Dublin. This is unheard of. There was ticker tape was coming down from the crowd as the teams came out on the pitch. And I think we won the game 4-0 as far as I can remember. But the ticket price was something like 40p to get in, 50p. It was something ridiculously low, at that stage. So Dublin had the privilege of seeing Ozzy play his first game for Spurs, which was great, But they were my two favourite periods, the Greaves era and the Keith Birkinshaw era.
Wow.
I love that. No one can top that. No one can top that. I mean, if I had to pick between the 60s and the 80s, of course, wasn't around. From what I've heard, it seems like the 80s were more special. It seems like the 80s were more special just because anybody that witnessed Glenn Hoddle, I've heard 1,000 times from people. There are people that became Spurs fans alone for that team. That's what made them Spurs fans, were those 80s sides. So I might say it was that team. Of course, again, this is coming from somebody who wasn't able to witness either. So I really don't take my word for granted. In terms of my own lifetime, probably the Andre Villas-Boas era. I'm kidding. But I would say the Pochettino
era. I think Christian Gross. You like
Christian Gross? 10 minutes of him.
We've lived a sad life, Ben. We've lived a sad life.
So we just get in one more point about the. If we just get in one more point about the 60s, when I was a kid, we lived in Birmingham in England, right? And I was supporting Spurs, even though I'd never been to White Hart Lane. And the only games that I could get to see was when they played West Brom, Aston Villa, Birmingham City, and Wolves. So I used to get to see at least 4 games a season, And unfortunately, at that time, Spurs were crap away from home.
Yeah,
we were nearly invincible at White Hart Lane, but we didn't travel very well, So I saw them get beat more often than not. And it was only around, I think it was 1975, I had my first visit to White Hart Lane. And I stood in the Paxton Road end behind the goal, and we beat Villa 4-2. I always remember that.
That is unreal.
And I've been so many times ever since, but it was just my greatest pleasure was seeing the great Jimmy Greaves play. I had the honour of seeing him play. I mean, that was a legend, absolute legend.
That's unreal. We have to have story time with Philip. I absolutely love hearing.
We need to do story time with Philip and Graham. I want to watch that show. I have to watch that.
It would be awesome. Just quickly, I'm going to give mine because I do have to go to the toilet. I am bursting. Dermot, for me, I'm going to say Martin Yole era because it really kind of put us on an upward trajectory, and I really loved how he kind of changed what was going on at Tottenham. Then the Harry Redknapp era, I really enjoyed that. I was strapped in on the roller coaster, super glued to the chair. I wasn't getting off. I love the Harry Redknapp era and the Pochettino era, of course. I really did. I really enjoyed that one. It was the first time I could walk around, puff my chest out, and say, "Shut up! I'm not taking your shit today." It's all about Tottenham. You're going to listen to me today. We're the top team around here. Look, I know we didn't win anything. But I can only pick from the years I'm alive, and we haven't won too much since I've been born. So,
There you are. Great question, Dermot, and really do appreciate the donation and the unbelievable question as well. People really liked that Tanganga question, so there are a few super chats, everybody, about it. So, we can't leave it there, clearly. Yeah. Daniel Larson saying Tanganga to Atalanta. Then we get Mela, Joachim Mela in return. Joachim Mela, everybody, is that Danish right wing back that plays over at Atalanta. A lot of people do like him. perhaps that actually would work. You know, you get to send Tanganga over to the Serie A, one of the destinations we thought would be good for him, and then you get a right wing back, you know, in return. That actually could be, you know, not a bad deal at all. If you wanted to loan him out, though, I'm not sure if you could loan somebody out and then get a player in return. I'm not really sure if it really works that way. You'd probably have to sell him and then bring Mela in. But certainly it might be actually best for all parties if it were that way, Daniel. But I would say a lot of people want to see Joakim Mela come into this team because he is an unbelievable right wing back and could be exactly what Conte needs, and also offers that pace and dynamism that we've been asking for from a wing back as well. So Daniel, I would say, in order to keep Tanganga, I'm not sure if it could work out that way, but maybe that's the best way to do it about all parties. I really like that point, Daniel, and really appreciate the donation as well, my man. And William Kelly saying, wherever he goes, it won't be back to Spurs. Not good enough. Sell now. Move on. He is feeling that way strongly about Tanganga. There you are. I mean, Ben, I think you've been kind of echoing a bit of the same thing. Kind of just feel like it's too late maybe for Tanganga.
I mean, I've been saying the same thing about Mr. Emerson. If they've got to that age and they can't do this sort of the bare bones of what their job is, it's a real worry. And it's not like he should know how to be a centre-back in the modern era. He's played under some of the best attacking coaches, like Pochettino, etc. Those sort of systems in the academy. We've been playing, and he doesn't seem to be able to have any technical ability. He seems to just want to be a meathead and fight, which is not what we need. If you're going to fight, at least be a bit class on the side like a Romero. But Romero only likes to be class, just a bit of sprinkle of the class. But first, he's going to tenderize you.
I mean, to be fair, Ben, I wish I had more of, you know, elements of your kind of philosophy of just being more about, you want to see results as soon as possible for Spurs. As much as I know you are a sentimental person about these players, when it comes to answering these questions, you kind of leave it out. And I would say we could all take a page out of your book, and it's certainly in your Tanganga answer. I think that rings true. The bottom dude is saying Tanganga plus cash is then Romagnoli incoming, that AC Milan center back. If somehow Paratici pulls off this impossible scenario, will that make you happy and satisfied? Before maybe I go off on one, has anyone heard of Romagnoli? Any of you two from AC Milan?
I'm not totally familiar with Romagnoli, but
sounds like a pasta dish.
Yeah,
that sounds
probably
delicious,
very tasty pasta dish as well. I'm going someone.
Would you take an AC Milan center back? You know,
yeah.
Would you take with just kind of a straight swap, maybe plus cash? Would that maybe okay for you if maybe Conte wanted that, Ben?
If we can get it, I'm not. AC Milan are a very good team at the moment. So I don't think Romagnoli is going to leave a team that's looking to challenge for the Serie A. Especially, I don't know if he's come through the academy. I'd need to look that up. But personally, I think we need to go for a player that Conte wants, which is a Stefan de Vrij. That's the player we need in this system. That's the player we need. We need another player that can be a leader in the centre-back role. Possibly a Sven Botman. I'm not totally familiar. I know he's a good left centre-back, and that's actually what we need for our back three, because Davis, as well as he's played recently, he's still showing.
We all know.
We know it's going to happen eventually, and when it crashes, it's going to absolutely crash and burn. So we need to look at that left side of the centre backs rather than the right hand side for the moment. But if we can get a quality signing, I'll be happy. But I don't think Romagnoli's coming. I think AC Milan are too good for him to really leave there. We're going to have to look for a team that's looking a bit shaky at the moment, personally.
Yeah. And to answer this Romagnoli situation to Bottom Duda, I've just been weirdly not as convinced by the guy, personally. I feel like he had, even at one stage, correct me if I'm wrong, to Bottom, because I know you know a lot more about Serie A than I do. Last season, if not this season, I forget which one, he had almost similar to kind of a Harry Maguire sort of situation where all of a sudden his form just went out the window and he was being dropped for that reason. And that's where I'm a bit worried, where he went through a real bad patch. And I can be confident that he did go through a real bad patch with AC Milan. And that kind of worried me about the player. He's made some mistakes that I've seen personally that I wasn't really convinced by, as, you know, maybe what he could bring to Spurs. the same time, though, he's definitely more of that kind of Italian mold of center back, where it's definitely all up there for them and less about, anything else. So could that translate well to the Premier League? You could probably say he might, if I'm being really generous to him, Romagnoli here, but he kind of has a bit of that Thiago Silva sort of element in him, is that he sees things, sees danger before it happens, sort of center back. But I wouldn't say he ever had the physical attributes that maybe Thiago Silva ever did. But my only reservation to Bottom Duda is that there was a period in time in which Romagnoli was under a real bad spell of form. And there was a reason why then Tomori, as well as Simon Kjaer, took over his position at AC Milan. So that is my worry. He kind of, his form really fell off a cliff. Could Spurs be that team to repair it? Probably, but that's maybe my feeling is I'd rather sign a center back that's coming into the Premier League with a lot of confidence off a good patch of form and everything. And Romagnoli, I'm not sure if I can say that, but to Bottom Duda, feel free to correct me, because I know I could be wrong about this, and I know you know plenty more about the Serie A than I do.
One thing we do need to be looking at, sorry for interrupting you, Jack, is
no, go ahead.
Italy are not in the World Cup this year. So maybe we should get some Italian players, because when we get back from the World Cup, they're not going to be exhausted. Maybe Italian players might be. I know someone put it in the chat earlier. If you did it, because I saw it and they were absolutely spot on. Maybe some Italian players, except for Galini, he can sod off for what I care. Couldn't catch anything. Maybe Italian players are the way to go for this season. Maybe they're going to be the difference. It's a shame that no really amazing ones, or a lot of them were bought last year, like the Locatellis, the Chiesas a few years ago. So maybe there's a bit of slim pickings, but maybe we should be going for some Italian players because of the World Cup.
There's going to be a tsunami. There's going to be a tsunami in Italian football over the next few days now, over this result tonight. So let's just wait for them and pick up the wreckage of it. Maybe that'll be the best way of describing it.
I'm going to be sending some text messages tonight to my Italian friends.
Be gentle with them, Ben.
I would say everybody go
feel me after the Euros.
Feel free to correct me though on Romagnoli. But all I can remember is there's been some bad patch form that he went through, and maybe I would just rather he find that form someplace else, I guess, than Spurs. But I could be well proven wrong, and it's not really an opinion that I held very strongly. Just kind of giving my opinion to Bottom Duda, but do let me know, my man. But people really liked that Tanganga question. They were offering lots of solutions, and better solutions than I even offered, actually, to be fair, actually. So again, like I've said, the theme of tonight doing my job for me, I must say, some of the people in here. But we are going to move on to the next question here, and it is about the right wing back situation, everybody. And it's been kind of on my mind, do we sign two right wing backs, or do we sign one of them? If we say we want only one right wing back, the question then for me is either Doherty or Emerson good enough to be a backup right wing back for us next season? Dave, what are your thoughts on this? Because my feeling is that I don't know if really either are, to be fair, because with Emerson, like we said before, not good enough going forward for maybe what Conte wants out of a right wing back. In Doherty's case, he's going to be 31 next season. Do you really think he can keep up that Premier League sort of, attributes? Can he keep up that Premier League athleticism? Can he keep up the work rate? Let's say our new right wing back falls injured. Let's say he just needs a rest. Let's say he gets a suspension. Is Doherty good enough to keep up, a good patch of form as a backup right wing back? I have some skepticism. But that same skepticism goes with Emerson, because maybe in his case, he's just not good enough for what Conte wants out of a right wing back. So my feeling is, do you feel like either of them could be good enough as a backup right wing back? If both aren't, then does that mean we need to sign two of them?
Look, for me, I know people are going to absolutely ridicule me here, but look, I actually think Emerson is good enough. Look, the guy's 22. He's had a hard couple of... He done well under Nuno. Then Conte's come in. He's been playing right wing back. Look, he's not good enough on the ball going forward, but everyone needs one good attacking wing back or full back and one good defensive wing back or full back. And for me, I think... Look, when I look at Matt Doherty, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's done well since the Leicester game, but the Leicester game suited him because we had to go for it. Everything game suited Matt Doherty. The Leeds game suited Matt Doherty. And for me, yes, he's had good games in them games, but them games suited him. But when the questions have been asked of him defensively, he hasn't been good enough. You take it back to the United game. I'm going to keep saying it. The first thing United done was put the ball over his head. He misjudged the flight of the ball, and they got in down that side straight away. Straight away, we gave them hope. West Ham, Doherty, ball over his head, couldn't deal with it, gave away the corner, and then didn't win the corner. He got out-jumped in the air. Against United, he got out-jumped by Ronaldo. And look, I know we've been through this, that Ronaldo is a specimen in the air, this, that, and the other. But again, against Middlesbrough, he was caught out on 2 set pieces and could have cost us earlier on in that second half, in that game. For me, look, Matt Doherty, does he offer enough going forward? Is he exceptional going forward? No. Is he good enough defensively? No. But we've known this for 2 years. Emerson, is he good enough going forward? No. Is he good enough defensively?
Yes.
I think so. There's no coincidence that Conte picked him for the Man City game. You know, he knew he'd play defensively. He knew he'd be solid. And we got a good game out of him defensively. So on the basis, I would definitely keep Emerson around for another year. Definitely as a defensive option. And I'd be looking out and going and buying a better attacking right wing back.
Is it realistic to get rid of both, Dave? Is that even realistic?
I don't think you can get rid of Emerson. I mean, he's only been here a year. People didn't want to get rid of Doherty. People were saying we couldn't get rid of Doherty last season because he would have only been here a year. For me, I just think, look, with Emerson, he's found it tough. Yes, I get that. But I still think there's a player in there. I look at the guy. I think he's a big guy. I think he has strength. I think he has all the attributes to become as good as Kyle Walker. Now, whether he'll ever get there, I'm not sure. But he has the physicality. He has the physique and everything to just be like Kyle Walker. I think with him, you just have to give him time to develop. With Doherty, you look at him, he's 29, 30 now. He's
30 now. He's turning 31 next season.
Going forward. He's not good enough defensively. And I know Philip might disagree with me here, but he'd be the one I'd chip on.
Philip, give it to me. Who do you think? Which one would you rather have be the backup right wing back next season?
The 21-year-old.
Yeah, and to confirm this, everybody, Doherty is 30, and he'll be turning 31 in January next season.
Like Doherty's done well recently. I mean, let's face it. You know, he was the most. Apart from Harry Winks, he was the most reviled player in the squad there a couple of months ago. But he's come good under Conte. But I think you've got to, you know, he's at one end of his career, whereas Emerson's at another. And I think we have to stick with a young guy who will come good. And I agree with David on that one. You know, I hope Doherty keep Doherty as a squad player. Don't sell him on. But I think we need to have someone else coming in his position as a right back. I see the comment coming through about Jed Spence. He's the guy that's on loan from Nottingham Forest at Middlesbrough. He would be a decent acquisition. As with that young Mitchell lad at Crystal Palace that's in the England squad now.
Yeah, a lot of people are looking at him now.
You know, so I think we will. It's an area we probably have to look at in the summer because it's a possible problem area next season if things carry on. You know.
Ben, I feel like you might have a different opinion than the rest of the panel here, and I want you to voice it if that is the case.
I'd like to take secret option number 3 of getting rid of both of them.
Let me just ask: is that possible? Do you think that's possible? Because
it is.
if that's possible, if that's possible, is it possible for 2 right wing backs to come in at the same time and settle?
Yes, everything's always possible if you target them early and get them in early pre-season and get them players that know that position. Emerson, I mean, this is the only thing me and Dave disagree on. We agree on pretty much everything, but we don't agree on Emerson.
He's a divisive subject, I'll tell you that.
Emerson is 23 years of age, and he cannot cross a ball. When you are a right back, you must be able to cross a ball. That doesn't mean that Gary Neville was a defensive-minded right back. He could cross a ball. We've had plenty of defensive-minded right backs that could cross a ball. Emerson doesn't seem to be able to do anything for the most part. He's been poor defensively for the most part. He was great in the Man City game. He was very, very good. But he can't cross a ball. And in this Conte system, he's not going to be playing as a defensively minded right back. So in this current system, Doherty suits it more because he is an attacking minded wing back. And that's what Conte is going to want. But secret option number 3 is Doherty is too old. He's 30 years old. He's not going to be athletic enough to do what Conte wants. Ship him out. Emerson is not technically gifted enough to do what Conte wants.
Yeah.
Get them both
That's
gone.
the problem.
Get 2 young, athletic right-sided wing backs in and see what we can do. We've got the defensive setup coming, but we need players that can do the job now. If Emerson can't cross at 23 years of age, he will never be able to cross a ball. Just full stop. He can't cross. He's had one good cross in a Tottenham shirt this entire season, which was against Norwich. And I could probably cross a ball against Norwich at this rate. They're awful.
What I will say, what I will add to that then is Kyle Walker couldn't cross a ball either. You know, that is something he had to work
something
on
that Emerson didn't have, which is electric pace.
Yeah.
Emerson doesn't have electric pace. Emerson does not have pace, and he's not. He might be athletic, but he's not quick, and he cannot cross the ball. So that he's sort of a player that he's not. He's the player that's not for this system. He was bought for a 4-2-3-1, which is what Nuno wanted. He doesn't.
Is he kind of the Tanganga mold? He's actually kind of the Tanganga mold. Like he would do great with Jose. What do you think about it, Emerson?
Well, he would great with Jose. He might even be a good right centre back. He might even be really decent in that position. But if he cannot cross a ball at 23, he will never be able to cross a ball. Full stop. And this system needs players that can cross a ball. We're not going to be going to 4 at the back anymore from next season. If we get the players we need, we're going to be playing 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. We're never going to play with a right back ever again unless something goes really wrong. So
what I will say is
I don't see it. I don't see him being able to cross a ball.
No, look, 100%. You look at it so far this season. That has been one area of his game that has, it's severely lacking. But what I will say is now that we've got Kulusevski over on that right-hand side, we're nowhere near asking as much of the right wing-back as we were when Lucas was playing there. For me, I just think we were putting all the wrong questions. We were all blaming Emerson for the lack of creativity down the right-hand side, but no one was asking about the end product from Lucas Moura. We were letting him buy purely because he was working hard. And no one really questions the crossing ability coming from the right-hand side anymore because of the role Kulusevski has played in the end product coming from there. But when I do look at the Antonio Conte system, we get Reguilon or the left wing-back forward a hell of a lot forward more than what we do ask of the right wing-back. And if you look at the West Ham game, I think that reflected. Doherty really didn't go as forward as much as Reguilon did over the other side. But I do agree with you. Look, crossing is a major problem, but if we can buy someone that is better than Doherty going forward and keep Emerson defensively, because when we come up against a Man City, you need to have someone that's better defensively minded and a Liverpool than someone that's better going forward, because that's what you're asking Kulusevski, Kane and Son to do. So when it comes to someone like Man City, for me, I think Emerson is a much better defender. You look, I've pointed out, even though you can point out the good game start that he has had, and the games you point out are for him going forward. But no one wants to talk about the games where he's let us down defensively. United, West Ham, he let them back into the game single-handedly from his mistake and not winning the corner from it. You look at Middlesbrough, that game could have been over a lot longer before then. And there's a number of games from last season defensively. Doherty is completely suspect.
No, I totally agree with it. But what I can see is, in that right wing-back role and the left wing-back role, not only can they should be able to defend, they should be able to attack. And both those right-backs can't do either of those. But look at Reece James at Chelsea. He's brilliant defensively and he's brilliant going forward. That's the player we need. Someone that can do both. We don't need... That is a specialist position in this team now.
And it's becoming the most important position, regardless of it being a 3 in the back. It's becoming the most important position in world football at this stage.
It's been for the last 10 years. We should take the credit because Tottenham invented this, but with Carl Walker and Danny Rose, so absolutely everyone should give us money because we invented this for the most part. Barcelona invented this really with Dani Alves and Jordi Alba. But ever since then, fullbacks are the most important position in world football. And we can't have fullbacks that can only do one thing. They've got to be able to do both things. Fullbacks are the new wingers. They are the Aaron Lennons of today. They are today's wingers. So they need to be able to defend and they need to be able to attack. You don't buy players that can't do one thing if they need to be able to do both. You look at you look at the CV, you don't sign a barista that can't froth milk. Just straight up. Majority of their drinks are with milk, so they need to be able to froth milk. So we need that. If you are signed as a wing back, you need to be able to defend and you need to be able to attack. If you can't do either one of those things, jog on some.
Philip, I know you've given up plenty of your time tonight. I figured maybe I'd just give you a quick, easy one. If that third door were available, like Ben, answered, and you could just get rid of both, would you do it?
No, I think I would still hold on to Emerson. Maybe not as a starter, but certainly as a squad player. I think we might be thinning out the squad a bit too much if we got rid of the two of them. Again, I could be completely wrong. It just depends who comes in and whoever we get in. And we get in someone like a man from Middlesbrough or the guy Mitchell, the guy from Palace. Okay, I know they're mainly one of them's left sided, the other one's right sided. Then Doherty's not going to get a game, so let him go. But keep Royale. Just there's going to be injuries, there's going to be suspensions. So what we don't want is a thin squad next season. We want to have two players in every position at least.
I love it.
Yeah. And Philip, before we let you go, favourite Jermaine Defoe memory? Of course, he retired today. Good servant of Tottenham twice. Favourite Jermaine Defoe memory?
It has to be the 5 goals against Wigan in 2010.
Yeah.
9-1.
Took mine.
I mean, that was just incredible. And, I was just going like, come on, lads, get 10. Yeah. We've never done it. We scored 9 against Bristol Rovers back in the day when it was a 9 against Wigan. But that was an amazing performance. But another goal, he scored a couple of great goals against West Ham as well in his time. And he was a great player. He's still a Spurs player because watching his commentary on the West Ham game the other day, even though he played for both clubs, you knew where his heart really lay, and it was with the Lily Whites. And I wish him all the best. And I hope, I've seen it read tonight there that there's a possibility he may come to help the youngsters at Spurs during the time where he gets his coaching badges.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if you're a striker and Jermaine Defoe's telling you what to do? I'd listen to every word he says.
Exactly.
Great guy. And what he did for that young Bradley fellow up in Sunderland back a few years ago. Do you remember? That was over and above the Call of Duty, and he is a really genuine, nice guy, and I wish him all the best in his retirement, and he is a credit to every club he's played for.
Yeah. Well said, Philip.
Love it.
Well, Philip,
lads, I have to go. So,
it's been an absolute pleasure having the Godfather on once again, my man. Thank you so much for your time.
Oh, you're welcome anytime. And listen, come on, you Spurs. The future's bright. The future's lily white.
Go on.
Love that, Philip.
See you, lads. All the best.
Gotcha, Philip. Good night, Philip.
Look after yourself, my man. Oh, there you have it, guys. The one and only, the Godfather. Absolutely brilliant to have him on. Love listening to Philip. You could listen to him all night long.
Absolutely. And to be fair, he kind of took my Jermaine Defoe moments. I'm gonna have to come up with another one maybe for when we talk about that on Kinnicky or on the extra time later. But moving on to maybe one of the last questions of the evening before we get to extra time. I think this one's fascinating because we spoke about this at length last night, Dave, where a lot of people have been actually so used to, I feel like, Son playing as a left winger. It's what we've been accustomed to, you could say, Son being a left winger for us. He always seems to drift from outside into the middle, always likes to cut inside from out wide. But it feels like under Antonio Conte, he's been more of a player that I feel like has been actually playing almost as a second striker, if not playing as almost even a number 10. He's been playing a lot further inside. He's been playing more through the middle. And so the question is Sonny better as a left winger or is he better as a second striker? Ben, what are your thoughts, my man?
We have to remember, Sonny is not a young man anymore. In football terms, that is. He's 29 years of age. He's not going to have that burst in pace in a couple of years. He's not going to have it. But what does Son still have? Goals and the fear factor.
Yes.
It's going to take a while. He's not. You can teach old dogs new tricks in this position. But what Sunday showed in particular is Sonny didn't have that brilliant a game against West Ham. And but he scored 2 goals and had an involvement in a third, which was the own goal from the cap kicker. Sonny is now a burst player. He bursts and he causes problems. So Sonny in this position that he's now playing as a left striker effectively, like almost what Denny was supposed to be doing really when he was drifting forward, playing as that sort of attacker that joins in at the last minute. This will increase our chances of having Sonny for a lot longer, and we need Sonny for a lot longer. Firstly, for the promotional purposes, marketing, Sonny is the face of Tottenham globally, so we need to keep him in there as long as possible because he's not only a brilliant player, he's brilliant for Tottenham worldwide. But he can now use his energy to do the damage. And it all goes, the effort should be on Sergio Reguilon and Sessegnon to provide that width and that pace for them as the fullbacks. Get back to the original point. The fullbacks are now the most important job in world football. So Sonny, this will increase Sonny's productivity because he will use his energy for what he needs to. Scoring goals and making assists for Harry Kane. That is what he's in this team for. So going forward, I'm really happy that he's in this new position. But it goes for the fullbacks to do their job so he doesn't have to take up some of the slack. So that's my opinion on it. So let him do what he's good at, being a nightmare.
Interesting. To be fair, I actually really agree, Ben, because while Sonny, it's what we've been used to. He's always been that left winger for us, someone that has been unbelievable at cutting inside from that left wing, either creating or scoring. And you probably say when he played on the left wing, probably had more goals from outside the box, more kind of wonder goals and whatnot, I would say. But I agree with you. Like, it's not like he's really showing signs of age, but to say if he could continue to do what a left winger is required, and a left winger, when you are playing far out wide, requires a lot of work rate, and it requires not only the ability to create out there, but you also sometimes have to track back, as well as that you also kind of have to be a bit more up and down the wings, in kind of both senses of the ball. So maybe Sonny, you might be wasting him. I feel like, if you're doing that, because he still has that intelligence.
He's too good to be tracking back in that team. He's not a midfielder. Agreed. He needs to be scoring goals and making assists, and that's what Sonny's good at. We need to save his energy, especially now in sort of the later part of his career, which is what it is. If you're playing wing, this is the later part of your career. You start to slow down. You lose your pace. You start getting injuries. So let him do what he's good at, scoring goals, and that's what he's brilliant at. Him and Harry Kane, what is it now? I can't even count now how many goal involvements them two have to.
You're on like 48 or 49 now.
Yeah. Look, those passes, Harry Kane and Sonny, they're back to their best. That pass to him from West Ham to Sonny, absolutely sensational, absolute pinpoint, godlike. And Sonny was there because he had the energy to get to that ball. So those two need to be preserved as much as possible. So we need the fullbacks to be taking up the slack for defensively and attackingly to allow him to do what he's good at.
Dave, what's your answer to it? I mean, where is he better suited maybe for the future?
Look, first and foremost, I think Sonny is definitely a better left winger than what he is maybe as a second striker, shadow striker, or whatever you want to call him. Because it's where he's played all his career and he's made his name. Cutting in off the left onto his right foot and putting one in. He's really dangerous there. But we have to remember the fact that he can now play both positions and he still is equally involved in the goals. That's a huge plus for Tottenham because it doesn't matter what system Conte wants to play. It doesn't matter if Conte goes and another manager comes in. Son can play either position now, so he's of use. But look, if we're being honest with ourselves, we have to remember when Conte first came in, Jack, I remember doing the Conte's Tactics show with you. And one thing that I was really impressed, like that I sussed out really early is that when Harry Kane would move over to the right to show support or maybe move over to the left to show support, Sonny always filled in that middle gap. Even when Harry Kane dropped deep, Son was filling in that gap. And then somewhere over January, February, that had been lost. It had been lost. And what we've seen against West Ham is what we were actually seeing when Conte first came in. That's what we were seeing. And he's just getting back to that. And for me, Son's just world class. It doesn't matter whether you play him left wing or second striker. What he has is the pace and he has the runs. And them runs, the reason why it's not just suits an Antonio Conte thing and it's not something that Antonio Conte has asked him to do is because if you go back to when we slapped Southampton last season 5-2, 5-3, I think it was 5-2, Son got 4 goals off the same run off Kyle Walker-Peters. Run inside, run in behind the defence, and Harry Kane will find you. This has been something that's been going on a long time, that if Harry Kane does drop, Son can then move into that position and fill that void up front, which is what we've been screaming for, because under Nuno, when Harry Kane was dropping deep, we're all screaming, well, it's all well and good getting the ball out wide, but who's in the middle? There was nobody there. Yeah. And now Antonio Conte has asked Son to come in and fill that, and then gets Reguilon to push on up and provide that way out on the left. And it's, for me, I think he's clinical or lethal in whatever position you ask him to do. You ask him to play out left, he'll create his own goals, create goals for others. You ask him to make them runs in behind, he's more than happy to do it. Son just wants goals. He wants assists.
Yeah,
you listen to him after the West Ham game, the interview he gave. He was like, great goals. I was delighted with the goals today. Next week, I want to be able to assist Harry Kane. I want to be able to score and assist next week. He's never settled. And for me, I think this guy, no matter what position you ask him to play, whether it is the second striker or whether it's left wing, is equally as good. If you're going to ask him to play up front or inside like Conte is doing, you have to understand it's a complete new game. It's a complete different game. He's getting battered by centre halves, by centre midfielders, guys a lot bigger than him that he wouldn't be getting battered by out wide. And when he does cut in out wide and he's running at them, he has the advantage because he's at full speed and they don't want to take him down. But when he's in the middle receiving the ball with back to goal, it's a complete different question. Sonny has had to learn to hold up the ball. He's had to learn a complete different way of playing. Even the runs he makes, he's had to learn that they're different. They're more straighter than what they were coming in off the left and then going in behind. The whole game, what we've been asking him to do is completely changed, and he still stepped up to the mark. Even when he was going through that bad part and people were criticising Sonny for his performances, he was still being involved in the goals. I think he was involved in like 11 goals in his before the West Ham game. 11 goals in like his last 13 games or something like that. So he was still getting involved and he was still being product. So it doesn't matter where you ask this guy to play, he's going to help this team.
I really agree, Dave. And I think that's what people are just going to have to get used to is with Antonio Conte, he seems to prefer him playing a bit more in the middle and playing closer to Harry Kane. Maybe that's what it is. He just wants him closer to Harry Kane. And with that just means Sonny's going to have to adapt his game a bit. And to be fair, I actually think he's done it quite well. It's not like he's really just blown up or, like just forgotten how to play or anything. It seems like he's still, like David just said, offering end product. He's still able to learn the ropes of it. And it just shows how good of a player he is that at this stage in time in his game, he's kind of learning to play a bit of a different role, a bit of a different position. And to be fair to him as well, what you would say is that since he's been the main man alongside Harry, you feel like they would get a bit complacent. They would get used to the position they always like to play. They wouldn't want to be told to play a different position, to play a different role. But he's been unselfish in maybe that regard, and that he has willingly accepted that different position. He's being okay with taking on a different sort of instruction from the manager. And maybe that just speaks to the professionalism of Sonny. Maybe that just speaks to what David also said as well, which is the guy is a ruthless goal scorer. And if Conte is promising him, listen, you're going to score more goals, you're going to be more involved in the play, and you're going to be more of that guy that we rely on for the end product, pretty sure Sonny's going to be like, fine by me, coach, with that as well.
And let me just add, Jack, the reason why he's going to be fine like that is because Harry Kane is making them passes, and he just knows, just go because Harry will find me. If Harry Kane wasn't making them passes, we didn't have someone to make them passes, you wouldn't see Son keep making them runs. But the reason why he does is because he knows Harry Kane will find them 9 times out of 10. So he has that faith, he has that belief, and he's going with purpose. If Harry Kane wasn't doing it, you wouldn't see him go with purpose on them runs. So I know it's a bit Harry Kane-esque of me, but you have to say Son is only continuing to make them runs because he knows he's going to be fed.
I agree. And Gogama here just showing a bit of the love for Sonny as well. Big up, Gogama. Really do appreciate the support and really do appreciate just having you back in here, honestly, Gogama. Always love having you back in here and there. And as well, I think, I think what Goguma just wants to see is just Sonny just constantly scoring, whether that be out wide, whether that be, maybe closer to Harry Kane. That's all she wants to see, and that's what all Spurs fans want to see. Big up, Goguma. Really
Big
do
up,
appreciate
Goguma.
it.
It's great to see you. It's great to see you. Did we take that one from the bottom do it that time, Jack?
I was going to say this one, I think from George was first, if I had it correct. Just quickly, I do have to bottom dudas there as well. Don't you worry. But George is saying, hi, all. Nusayr Mazraoui up from Ajax, out of contract. Yeah, I think he has.
Already, isn't he?
He's moving to Barcelona.
Yeah.
I think he's moving to Barcelona, which is a real pain. I think there was
Against
rumors as well. He could have been going to Bayern. There was also Bayern rumors too, but he's moving over to Barcelona. Unbelievable fullback, especially in the attacking sense. Makes sense. Any attacking team, that's definitely suited for him. He would have done great for us, especially it's probably what Sean wanted, I think, as well. Sean wanted more of a taller kind of right wing back. So it is a huge loss, George. It is a huge loss, but it kind of makes sense, him making that sort of step up to Barcelona. It does kind of make sense. And if he doesn't want to move to the Premier League, it makes even more sense, I would say. Makes even more sense. Big up, George, though. Really good to see you in here. To bottom duda saying, I know we have been linked with Jed Spence, but will he improve us massively right away? Or getting in a 34-year-old Cuadrado is a quicker fix? I'm going to ask the panel about the Jed Spence thing, but I would say Cuadrado is showing that age is just a number. And I think he has been showing that for the past 3 or 4 seasons, because whenever I've watched Juventus the past 2 or 3 years, it seems like Cuadrado, when they're at their worst, is the guy that is only creating. He's the guy that seems to, even at times, I would say, put the team on his back in certain moments. I have really liked what Cuadrado has done. He was really good for them as a right winger. He then transitioned to a right back in a really clever way as well. I think he has been unbelievable. His numbers from this season and last season are spectacular. He is showing a real player, and he's actually been probably gone under the radar, I feel like, for a lot of time, maybe because he's stuck with the Serie A. He never really made a move away from the Serie A. But I would say ever since his days at Fiorentina, I believe it was his days at Fiorentina, unless I'm wrong, he has been an unbelievable player. And I would say the fact that he's 34 and is still like showing the pace, still showing the dynamism, I would say he's actually an underrated example of age is just a number. But Jed Spence, will he improve us massively right away? What are your thoughts? I mean, Ben, do you know anything about Jed Spence? I mean, do you have any opinions on the guy?
If you get in a player that young, he's going to make mistakes. And that's one thing we've got to look out for. I think he's 20 years old. I'd have to look up to see how old Jed Spence is. But from the clips I've seen of him and the games I've seen him play, he looks phenomenal. He's got everything the modern right wing back needs. He's athletic, he's strong, he's quick, he can get assists. But if we get a player like that, we have to admit he's going to make mistakes. And if we get another one in, we might have to look at, I don't know if Cuadrado's available, to be honest. I think he's on a free transfer this year, possibly, isn't he?
He is. And here's my thing, though, is like maybe the reason he's still just showing how ridiculous he is perhaps that sort of pace and dynamism he can take advantage of Serie A, maybe defenders for. I would just say
he's not going to do that in the Premier League.
I'm not sure he's going to do that in the Premier League, but that's no disrespect to him. It's no disrespect to him. Yeah.
I think Jed Spence is a good backup for now, and let him learn the league. But then again, we need 2 right backs. Like, seriously, we need 2 of them, in my opinion.
Agreed.
But I think Jed Spence won't improve us right away, but in 3 years, he will. But is this what I've been banging on about this? We don't need players for the future anymore. I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of buying players for their future. We need to buy players that improve us now. If they happen to be young, like a Decky, and they improve us now, I'm incredibly happy. But we need players that are going to start playing now, because we're starved. We need to start going for things now, especially with our costs racking up with wages and all that nonsense. But we need players that are going to pull their weight now. We can't wait another 3-4 years for a player to come good.
Yeah. Look, for me, I'm going to look, like you said, Ben, we agree on most things, but I am going to disagree with you on Jed Spence. Look, you're probably going to turn out more right on this kid than me, but this kid, I'm not sleeping on. He's 21 years of age. He's hungry. He's got all the attributes. This kid is so good on the ball.
Yeah.
What we need in this team down that right-hand side is that if the pass inside isn't on, to go and take it on yourself. And I've seen this guy do this all season long in the championship. If the pass isn't on, he goes on the outside himself. And when he's in the box, he's cool as well, by the way.
Yeah.
I think he's already got, this season, he's already got 3 goals and 5 assists from the right back position at Middlesbrough. He's 21. And look, for me, Tottenham have bought well from the championship before. Look at Michael Dawson. We got him in from Nottingham Forest.
Yeah, as well.
You know, he came in. He had a very good impact in Tottenham. Look, for me, I'm not sleeping on this kid. There are players that can make that jump up and that are ready to do it. And I believe this is one of them. There is going to be a lot of clubs tracking this guy. He is athletic. He's powerful. He's quick. He's good on the ball. And defensively, he's very good as well. And what he does have that maybe Emerson doesn't have is that raw pace to get up and down. Trust me, this guy is very, very good. I would much rather take him over Cuadrado. If you're looking at someone to come in and maybe be a little bit better on the ball straight away, Cuadrado's your man. But does he have the energy at 34 years of age to get up and down like the Premier League requires, like Antonio Conte's system requires? I don't think so. For me, I do think Jed Spence would fit this team unbelievably well. I think you'll get him for between 15 to 25 million. I wouldn't pay any more than 25 million. But I'm telling you, just trust me on this one. With this guy, you were getting the real deal. He is going to go far.
I mean,
really good ball carrying ability.
If you give me the option of Matt Doherty or Jed Spence, I'm driving to Middlesbrough and picking up Jed Spence. I'm going to get a car on the way back because he already looks a deal. But it's just like, I'm very worried about. We need to start succeeding. But if he comes in and succeeds, I'll be delighted. Cuadrado, I wouldn't touch. He might look good in Serie A, but
it's just too late. It's just too late.
It's a different kettle of fish.
Let him wind down. Let him wind down over at Serie A. I agree.
And just quickly, like a lot of people, like I know he's loaned out from Middlesbrough to Nottingham Forest, and I know Middlesbrough have kept a guy of the similar age. But if you look at where they are in the league, there's 1 point between the teams. So it's not like Jed Spence has took a step down, leaving Middlesbrough and going to Nottingham Forest. He's gone to the exact same level, and he's already got 3 goals and 5 assists. Trust me, this guy will make it in the Premier League.
I agree. I think he'll make it in the Premier League. And what's actually crazy, like you just said, Dave, is that Borough, they also have a guy in Isaiah Jones who's also having a great season for them. So it's actually crazy the fact that they have a plethora of talented right wing backs over there, which I would say is a good problem to have, you must say. And so it is actually quite unbelievable they loaned him out, because it just speaks to maybe how good the right wing backs they have. And it's unbelievable to see that he's also having a spectacular season. But
he's got Dave. 1 goal, 9 assists this season, Isaiah Jones. So, not too much of a difference between him and Jed Spence whatsoever. Jed Spence is better at scoring goals, but Isaiah Jones looks maybe a bit better at assisting goals.
Maybe, but it seems like both are incredible options. It seems like you would just take either, and you made a really good point about that, Dave. And to bottom Duda in here with another one saying, how is Barcelona still pulling all top free agents to play at the Spotify Camp Nou? Kessié done, Christensen and Azpilicueta linked, Mazraoui. Wake up, Paratici, he says. Bottom Duda, I probably should have included this in the poll that I did on the second channel. A new video I am going to come out with is going to be, I was wrong about Xavi's Barcelona. I was just dead wrong. I really did not believe the hype at first, especially because when I first saw them play, like one of his first games against Bayern Munich, I was like, this guy is out of his depth, out of his league. He got absolutely wiped the floor with. And ever since that, like, he has proven me wrong in every single way. To be honest, might just be the draw. It really might just be the draw. It seems like Xavi, maybe there's something that he's bringing, like maybe the reputation, perhaps the beauty of the football that he's producing is pulling players over there. And also these players seem to maybe want to go into a team that's building something, for the future. And with that Barcelona side as well, they're going to be probably promised lots of playing time, maybe a bit less pressure. Weirdly, I can't believe I'm saying that, but a bit less pressure actually over at Barcelona as well. I could say it actually makes sense, those signings that they've achieved. I know it's probably frustrating that we didn't get those guys, but in the case of Kessié, he didn't seem to want to make that move to the Premier League, so he's moved over to Barcelona. In the case of Christensen, he wanted to lead the Premier League. And then Azpilicueta, he's just getting on. And then Mazraoui is also as well, like just decided not to make that move to the Premier League. So I think it's probably explainable. I know Paratici is the king of free transfers, probably a bit disappointed as well that he didn't get any of these done, but there is a bit of a logical explanation. And part of that logical explanation is that Xavi seems to be doing some incredible things over there that are drawing over some really unbelievably talented players. So I just have to stand corrected on it. Honestly, he humbled me, Xavi. He proved me wrong. He proved me wrong. And I think that's what's happened about him, Duda.
You look at two of them players, two of them are Chelsea players just not coming to Tottenham. It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Kessié, look, the guy had the pick of any club around Europe. So trying to get him to Tottenham was always going to be tough. I do believe with all the links that were there, we were trying to get him. And I think probably we were trying to get him in the January transfer window so that because we probably knew we didn't have a chance of getting him on a free contract. And when you look at Mazraoui, I mean, look, if the guy doesn't want to come to Tottenham, he doesn't want to come. We can all sit here and say, why didn't we go for this person on the free contract? Why didn't we go for that person? It's not that easy. We could make contact and be rejected straight away. It's up to the player. They have the pick of any club they want. They can charge whatever wages they want. And look, it's not that easy to get the free signings in. Look, if you want them, you go and pay the money, you get them what they want. If you really want them and you get them in here. But we have to remember, all they have to do is say no, and then we're out in the market, and that's it. It's all well and good. What I don't want to happen this summer is that we're saying, oh, look at so-and-so, he went here on a free. Look at so-and-so, he went here on a free. It's not that easy. They don't always want, as much as we would love to believe they want to come to Tottenham every single time. Mm-hmm. Tottenham is their number one choice. Many players around Europe, it's not even in their top 5 choices. You have to understand that.
No. There you are, Duda.
Barcelona. This is one of the biggest clubs in world football. Probably the top 3 biggest clubs of world football. Possibly the biggest even.
No.
If you can play for Barcelona and see you're one of the players that's resurrected, the so-called sleeping giant at the moment, that is a challenge. Not only seems like Barcelona, it is a challenge. And Xavi seems to be a brilliant coach at the moment. And it's like one of those things that Oli brought to Man United when he came to the club. When the Xavi is there, he remembers the old days of Barcelona. So standards, he just makes them all dress properly. That he's bringing that special. Xavi might not be the manager that wins them everything, but he might be the guy that brings them back onto the trajectory where they need to be winning things. And it looks like that he's restoring the culture of that club to the way it should be. The world football is not the same place without a Barcelona in it. So we always want to see them being, because it's brilliant for their own community as well. That's why it's called more than a club.
And maybe there's a draw there where with Barcelona going through this rebuild, maybe some of these big name players, they want to see themselves as the face of that rebuild. They can see themselves as being, that there's that kind of thing like, wow, Kessié saved, like Barcelona, Christensen saved Barcelona. There might be that sort of draw and appeal as well. But to bottom Duda, it's a great point. I think it's time, everybody, to move on to everybody's favorite time, the extra time. We're starting off with the man who has done us a lot of good at this club. Favorite Defoe memory, and then there's, as always, because it is extra time, I never make it easy on everybody. You can't, just have a nice time. It's always going to be difficult questions. But first, favorite Defoe memory. Dave.
Oh, no, I was just giving the thumbs up to the comments. But look,
sorry.
Favorite Defoe memory. 5 goals against Wigan will always stand out for me. That was unbelievable performance. Second part of the question, I mean, it's not even a question, Jack. It's Robbie Keane all day long.
Defoe did score more goals for Spurs.
Don't care. If anyone else says Defoe, I'm not going to be happy with them.
Uh-oh.
I might say uh-oh as well. Ben might say uh-oh. Look, Ben, first, before
Keane
you upset him.
Keane was my idol growing up. When they scored, you'd see me around Kilcullen doing the cartwheel, the Cupid arrow into the fans, you know what I mean? So it's always going to be Robbie Keane. Big up, Moondog. Big up, Moondog. That's what we're talking about, man. Big man, Robbie Keane. Come on, lad.
Ben, favorite Defoe memory, and then also the second part of the question.
This is going to be a very biased moment. It's the moment when I ran into him at the Shell petrol station in Chigwell by the former Bull Hind. He's just I met him. I've met Jermaine Defoe a few times, but living in the same area as him, as well as when I was a mascot and got to have a chat with Jermaine Defoe.
Oh my God.
The man is a lovely, lovely guy.
I've heard
and
that.
It was an absolute pleasure to get to talk Tottenham with him and how much he loved Tottenham. He loved us as a player. He really loved the Tottenham fan base. And he had some brilliant moments. The overhead kick against Man United.
Yeah, that was my God. Everybody's taking mine.
Yeah. when he broke the European goal record, that was something special. That we never thought that was going to be broken, but Jermaine Defoe did it. I mean, the man, it was just what he did for Bradley Lowry. That man should have a statue with just for that. What he did for that kid is like he is an absolute legendary bloke. A brilliant football player for Tottenham, but anyone says a bad word against Jermaine Defoe in the Tottenham community, they should be immediately cancelled. Immediately. That man is an absolute legend. And whenever he comes back to the stadium, he'll always have a beer. He'll always have a beer because he's just a lovely bloke. And to the second part of the question, Robbie Keane broke my heart when he went to Liverpool. I loved that man. He was my hero. He was my absolute hero. And for him to just dump us like we were nothing, to go to Liverpool and expect us to love him the same when he came back, it's never going to happen. Jermaine Defoe never dumped us.
I'm loving Ben.
He was forced to leave because we had crap managers.
Ben,
Jermaine
you have to understand.
loved us. And
Robbie Keane was a Liverpool fan, and he went to give his boyhood club a chance. He realized it didn't work out, and straight away he knew where he wanted to come back to. That was Tottenham. You're talking about a guy that over 2 years he spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. 9 years at Tottenham Hotspur over 2 spells. I mean, look, you can't blame the guy for going for his childhood dream. We also have to remember Jermaine Defoe went to Portsmouth, came back to Tottenham. You can't give him a fight on that.
Because the manager forced him out. He burnt the bridge with the club. He treated the management of the club like idiots. Like apparently he threw his toys out. He tried to burn the bridge basically when he got a chance to go to his boyhood dream, which didn't work out. The grass is not always greener. This is the truth. The grass is not always greener. Jermaine Defoe was in his time at Tottenham, apart from some of his relationship choices that he made, which we're not going to go into.
He was never Tottenham captain. That's what I always take from it. Robbie Keane was Jermaine Defoe.
He should have been, though, because he was a credit to himself and a credit to his community and his credit to his mum as well. The charity work he's done. He's a legendary human being. And yeah, I still Jermaine Defoe was both of them were my heroes. Going to school and having those two boys up front, but you felt so proud to support Tottenham because they were like the boys. But if I could choose one of them, it's going to be the guy that never broke my heart, and he came back and he still showed the love for the Tottenham fans, and that's Jermaine Defoe.
Lazy Eight's comment is great. For me, favorite Defoe memory, 2 of them have been taken: the Man United overhead kick, as well as the 5 goals against Wigan. No, because then I don't know. I'm now struggling, to be honest, because Defoe was right when I kind of started becoming a Spurs fan, to be fair as well, and both were taken away from me. I maybe would just add that what I do remember about Defoe is that he was brilliant for us during the Andre Villas-Boas days, and that was actually what made him quite, I think, admirable. If we all remember, those weren't great days as being a Spurs fan, and he actually was a bit of a shining light. I feel like during that time, he actually had a good spell of form, if I remember, in like 2013, 2012, whichever year it was. So I would say Defoe during the Andre Villas-Boas days just had good seasons, and he was a shining light during a pretty bad spell over at Spurs. And I must say that, like, I think it was AE that mentioned it, that inside, every time he cut inside, it was like a very unique sort of inside move that he would always make. And every single time he cut inside, he wouldn't take an extra touch. He would just touch inside and bang. And I always loved that about Defoe. I would take Defoe over Keane, especially to answer if I would take him back right now, prime Defoe or Keane. I think I'm taking prime Defoe back alongside Harry Kane. I'm going for that. Dave's probably going to not speak to me.
Keane can make his own goals. Jermaine Defoe couldn't, lad. Keane made his own goals. Look,
but Dave, to answer the question, you got Harry Kane in the team, my man. You got Harry Kane in the team. Able to play Defoe in behind.
No, look.
I can tell
he
he made him pause there. I can tell he made him pause there. That's a win.
The fall was good, right? The fall was good, but he had a lot longer at Tottenham than what Robbie Keane did. And look, for me, Robbie Keane was better. He struck up a better, like he was better with he struck up a partnership with Berbatov. He was club captain at one stage. You know, the guy could create his own goals or running behind. Jermaine Defoe was a running behind guy. Robbie Keane was the better player, 100% better player. That's why Robbie Keane ended up playing for Liverpool. That's why he ended up playing for Inter Milan. Defoe ended up playing for Sunderland. So it says everything I need to know.
Dave, it feels like, it's like trying to push over a mountain right now. We're not going to be able to stop him. The other thing I must say, though, as well, another funny Defoe moment. This is just coming from an American. When he moved over to the MLS, he also tore up the MLS at his age when he came over here. In fact, he was so good for the MLS that he went back to Europe because he actually realized himself, like, you know what? I don't think I'm really done over in Europe yet because this MLS, league is actually just too easy for me. So that's another thing I must say about Defoe. The moment he came over to Toronto, he absolutely destroyed that league. And so I must say, that's another a funny thing about the Defoe as well. Number 2. Who would you rather have in our back 3 between Romero or Toby? I'm going to go Romero here. We spoke about it yesterday. The back 3, you need the psycho. You need a psycho in there. You can't have 3 complacent center backs. As good as Toby was, I think I would prefer to have Romero. Of course, you would want probably Jan, Toby, and Romero. That would be an unbelievable, ridiculous center back 3. But just like always, it's always never easy with these questions. I'm going Romero. Ben?
Toby was part of a package deal. Toby was in a better partnership. He was with his old mate Jan, and that's why they were so good, because they were hypnotic together. They knew exactly what each other were doing. If you're looking at players, who is better? Romero at his best, which we haven't seen yet, and that's how good Romero is already. Or Toby? Romero is going to be something. It's not a question we should be asking yet, because Romero is young in his career, and Toby had a long time with us. When Romero gets to his peak, he's going to be one of the best centre-backs in the world, possibly the best centre-back in the world for what he can do. I don't think Toby was ever in the conversation for best centre-back in the world, ever. But Toby was brilliant at doing a couple of things, which one of them was the long ball over the top for Delhi, which did so many brilliant things. But I think if I'm going player to player, I can't really answer this question yet because we have only seen.
That's what made it hard.
Surface.
It's either you're jumping on the Romero train early, or you're just waiting a little bit, for the the next time it comes around.
I think Toby was absolutely brilliant. But I think in the long term, if I'm going to look at both players in 5 years, I think Romero is going to be a better player for us and he's going to be a more successful player for us.
Love it. Brave answer. Dave?
Yeah, look, all aboard the Romero train, choo-choo, non-stop, express train. Look, for me, Toby was outstanding positionally-wise, long passes, absolutely brilliant. But look, Jack, I'm a fan of the dark arts. I'm old school. I love a player that just relishes the contact. I was like that myself. I love the 50-50. And for me, I'm going with Romero purely because I've been a big believer in this guy. And I said, and people laughed at me at the time, all over Weird Tom TV, all over here. I said, this guy is better at 23 than what Virgil van Dijk was at 23. And we have one of the world's best defenders on our hands. And he's definitely proven me right. I think if he could develop the long range passing ability Toby has, he beats him hands down. Look, Toby was a very good defender for Tottenham. Like I said, he formed a great partnership with Japhet Tanganga. But I love a player that is just physical. Yeah. I absolutely love it because at the end of the day, we're talking about sport. We're not talking about cheerleading. We're talking about sport, and sport is physical. So for me, it's Romero.
I'd love to know Bob Spur's answer because the classic line as well, he was a huge Romero fan or still is a huge Romero fan. And he said as well, whatever the line is that he says so much better than I am, but whatever the relationship between Tissues, me and Romero is, very close, whatever he said is. So I'd love to know Bob Spur's answer as well.
Big up, Bobby.
Number 3, Who do you want taking free kicks between Dyer, Sonny, or Kane? I'm going to go Eric Dyer. But Sonny, I feel like isn't given enough of a fair shot maybe with some of the free kicks outside the box because Sonny's delivery has been quality this season. I think it has been quality.
Don't forget the training video where he put like nearly every single one top bins.
I think Eric Dyer's class from free kicks. I'm going to be honest. I can't believe I said that, but he's actually quality from free kicks. Not saying he's a world beater from free kicks or anything, but I think he's easily the best one we have. But Ben, do you agree or do you make a case for Sonny or Kane?
I don't want to see Harry Kane on direct free kicks ever again. I'm fed up of it. I'm fed up of it because he's scored one and that was a terrible deflection. I've seen Eric Dyer score 3 free kicks. I think it's 3. It's either 2 or 3. It's at least 2 for England. And I've seen him score somewhere else. I think it's 3 free kicks. I've never seen Sonny take a direct free kick for a long time at least.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to go with my head,
I'm
going to go by stats. I've never seen Sonny score a free kick. I've seen Kane score a free kick, but that was an incredibly lucky free kick. That was a terrible
Pochettino his job, didn't he?
Yeah. It's got to be Eric Dyer because he's the best out of mathematically. He's the best, so it's got to be him.
Yeah. Dave, I'm pretty sure it's Dyer for you.
Look, first of all, we have to understand the reason why Harry Kane takes the free kicks is because he's the best striker of the ball we have. That's what Paul Miller and Tony Galvin were saying. And I trust them in that. But the problem is, it's the only part of his game that probably lets him down. All other aspects of his game is flawless. Even his hairline game, it's flawless. But when it comes to free kicks, maybe not. So for me, look, I love you, Big H. I don't want to see any more free kicks. Just put the ball in the back of net when the chances come. Hand the free kicks over to Dyer because at least he hits the target.
Yeah.
Number 4, what's your dream signing for Spurs this summer? This can be any player or it can just be position, if you want to go
realistic
that way.
Or like full on
It can be unrealistic. It can be unrealistic. Really no difference to me. I feel like I already put you guys through enough burden with those harder questions earlier. I don't need to, put you guys through any more pain here. I'm going to go for a second channel sort of plug just because there have been iffy rumors, and I will say iffy, but there have been rumors that Spurs are taking a look at Cody Gakpo, somebody who I have backed from the beginning. I backed him in last summer's transfer window. That this is a guy we should take a look at, especially as a backup striker / future replacement for Son. It's a very, I know, niche sort of signing that, maybe isn't obviously the dream signing, but I've really backed the kid. I've always loved watching him play. He's having an unbelievable season and proving me right over at PSV. He's practically carrying PSV himself. Right now, I just love Cody Gakpo. So I'm just going to say the fact that I even saw the rumors today, I know they're probably not true, but I'm going Cody Gakpo just because of my own sort of niche, I don't know, kind of love for those kind of players that no one talks about, just for the plug for the second channel. So I'm going Cody Gakpo on this one. Bruno Guimaraes didn't go to Newcastle. We all know that would have been my choice. Yeah. But it's going to be Cody Gakpo for me. Dave, I'm going to start with you, then go to Ben.
Oh, lad, for me, I'm torn between Ryan Gravenberch, Tonali, or Jude Bellingham. Do you know what? My dream signing would be Jude Bellingham. I think it adds so much to the midfield. He'd be a box-to-box midfielder, which I do think would really help Tottenham in certain games. For me, he has all the attributes to be a bit like Moussa Dembele was for Tottenham, be able to carry the ball from one end of the pitch to the other. You look at the guy, what is he, 18, 19 now? He's been a specimen since Unreal. 17. The size of the guy, the athleticism, the body shape, the physique, the strength, the way he strikes a ball, the way he's enthusiastic and wants to get in. I absolutely love the kid. So for me, it would be Jude Bellingham.
Ben.
I'm going to answer it with this. It's got to be Paulo Dybala, doesn't it? The man is a superstar already. The man is a superstar. I'd really love to have Spinazzola from Roma, but you think Jose is going to sell a left back to us? Absolutely not. Especially their best left back, one of the best left backs in world football. But Dybala is gettable, and he would be a force for Tottenham with Sonny, Kane, and Decky. He would be a force. He's an awesome footballer. He's world class. And he would mesh in well with this team with his mates, his Bentancur and Romero. I've seen nothing but a possibility for it to be an unbelievable signing. Saying that, dream signings can go wrong. Again, dreams don't always come true. So I would personally love to have Dybala because I think he could be absolutely brilliant. But it's me being a bit more realistic. Really, I should do something stupid and say a Jude Bellingham because I don't think Bellingham's ever going to come to Tottenham. As much he would be fantastic, Bellingham. Bellingham's
That's why I
brother.
asked the question, Ben. That's why I asked, could I be up in the
Jude
stars?
Bellingham's brother is apparently just as good, so we could get him. Apparently, Bellingham Jr. We could go to him as well.
What's his name? He has a cool name, actually. Forget it. But yeah, he has a brother at Birmingham, made his debut in the FA Cup this season.
Apparently, he's just as good, if not better. Apparently, he's got a higher ceiling, maybe. So I don't know. Personally, for me, it's got to be Paulo Dybala for that extra striker. We definitely need that extra striker.
I love it. I love it.
At this moment in time, I don't know two right backs. So that's what my.
I love the way all of us just completely abandon realistic positions. I love it. I love it. Grand Prix Gold says David, Huddle, Jack, Waddle, and Ben Roberts. Come on, you Spurs. Dermot, I really do appreciate that, my man. I really do appreciate it. You're way too kind. But look, guys,
just quickly, Japhet Tanganga saying Achraf Hakimi unhappy at PSG. If he'd be my dream signing, he's answering the question. Either him or Nicola Barella. Wow, he's got fine taste. I'll tell you that about him.
So I couldn't possibly say Barella because it's just never gonna. I'm never gonna make myself. I don't want to break my own heart. That man in this team with Bentancur and Højbjerg, we were playing 3-5-2. My God.
I actually, to be fair, Ben, I remember when we were doing Euros previews, we were doing a bunch of Euro content, over the summer. I remember saying, and I kind of got laughed at, I said, Nicola Barella is one of the best midfielders in the world. And people laughed at me. And I feel like now, after they've seen me yet again this season, doesn't look so crazy. I feel like after I said that. But yeah, I'm with you. Like an unbelievable sort of signing. And Hakimi as well to bottom Duda. Like that is the best right wing back in the world. In the position that also for Conte's system, the best choice you could possibly have.
Conte
by
made him.
Far, I'd say worth 80 million at that position for what he could bring. You're spot on, my man. You're spot on to bottom Duda, and really do appreciate support and really do appreciate all the donations, my man. It's way too kind and always really keeps the conversation going to bottom Duda as well. He asks really tough questions as well. Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. But bottom Duda, big yourself up, my man. And I completely agree. He's letting himself dream a bit. He's letting himself dream a bit. You love it. You absolutely love it.
He's gone full delusional. Jack let him off the chains and he's gone full delusional. but look, guys, just quickly, what's coming up? Saturday we have the transfer show. I won't be here. I'll be up in Dublin celebrating Ben from We Are Talking TV Stag Do. But Jack will be here with other special guests. And then Sunday we have the one and only Alex Davies on. So that should be good. And then Sunday we'll let you know what we have for the rest for next week. But look, before we do dip out, I want to give the two boys a chance to plug your channel. Ben, where can people find you, my man?
So you can find us exclusively at the Coffee Company YouTube channel, which Dave has very, very nicely linked in the chat. It's a place where people can go to get away from the horrors of the world and just chill out and just get your mind at rest. That's what we're planning. But recently we're taking it up a notch. We're starting to heat things up. The wheels are starting to come. We're on the road to the championship of the UK. Hopefully we can win it. But at this moment in time, we're focusing on the 3rd of April, which usually comes after the 2nd of April and before the 4th of April, where we will be at London Coffee Festival with Slayer Espresso, and we're going to be pulling some great coffee. We've got a special coffee on for that particular event, and it's going to be brilliant. So follow us over the Coffee Company on Instagram and YouTube, and just see this journey that I'm taking to turn myself into just your local humble barista, and hopefully I can be a competitor in the near future.
Beautifully put, Ben.
Hopefully you all join us.
That was poetic.
If you smell what the cough is brewing.
Love
no,
that.
Ben, look, you got to have me on as the promo. I'm going to do it better. Can you smell what the Coke Man is brewing? Come on, give it socks, Benji. Come on.
I can't. I'll wake up the rest of my family who are in bed. That's why I'm being careful.
Next time. But everybody, he's also, like he just said, he's going to be up in the London. He's going to be in a big competition up in London as well. So it just sounds like, I don't know.
Not yet. Just exhibiting at this moment. Maybe next year. Next year we might throw our hat in the ring for the competition.
There you go. There you go. But everybody, do head on over to that channel. I thought Ben was absolutely class today. He brought up just exactly what I wanted from him. You know, gave opinions that, you know, were his own, you know, didn't cater to us or anything like that. Was a straight shooter, a straight talker. He has that kind of Maxi in him. You know, he's got the Paul Miller in him. Absolutely loved it from him tonight. So do show him the support that he deserves.
And we'll definitely be seeing more of Ben around here for sure, guys.
Absolutely. And everybody, just because he's a Spurs fan as well, just show him the support. Just hit that red button over there. Really do go and just smash the red button.
For sure. For sure. Look, you know, you want to follow Ben's journey, guys. Do get over there and do it. Get over there and smash that subscribe button. It's look, trust me, I got down to sample the coffee. It's good. He knows exactly what he's doing, guys. Trust me. But look, Jacko, where can people find you, my man?
Over on the second channel, have done 2 videos recently. Of course, everybody's talking about Dybala. I basically did a big kind of stats breakdown on Dybala, and I compared him over with Memphis Depay, you know, just to give you a bit of context to maybe what Dybala could offer versus maybe someone like a Memphis Depay. I thought it was kind of an interesting video because it kind of just gives you a bit of context about Dybala, because we all know he's a world-class player, but how, you know, how good really is he? You know, what can he actually bring? I thought it, you know, was a decent idea. So do maybe take a look at it, because I think it just gives you a bit of insight maybe on what Dybala could bring. The other one is, you know, to maybe just kind of talk about transfers that are going on out there. Did a video with David on Ryan Gravenberch. I must say, people who like the highlight reactions, probably one of the best highlights we've done, you know, from this year as well. The guy is absurd. So if you just like watching a filthy and unbelievable talent, I would say watch that video as well. The next video that's coming out, I did check on it earlier, but it seems like everybody, the one they voted on, I'm going to be doing a video on unknown players that are having great seasons. So I'm basically going to be doing a bit of research on players that basically no one knows that are secretly having unbelievable seasons. I think that's really good for people who do kind of like thinking about that sort of stuff, talking about that sort of thing, especially in transfer sort of mind as well. Daniel Levy should probably take a look at it, because probably there's some deals maybe to be had. But everybody do head on over to the second channel. Lots of content, and I have lots of ideas coming up, and I really do appreciate all the support. So if you can stick by me, that would be wonderful.
Now, everybody, like I said, transfer window's coming up. It's your Bible. You know, us Irish, we keep a Bible in the top drawer in the bedside locker. Just keep that flat cap Euro Talk notification, guys. You're going to need it this summer. But look, guys, as I said, you know, transfer show Saturday, and then the one and only Mr. Alex Davies on Sunday. So that should be absolutely fireworks. Mr. Box Office, like he likes to call himself. But look, guys, we'll leave it there. I want to say a massive thank you to Jack, to Ben and Philip for their time this evening. I hope really everybody really enjoyed the show. Some good talking points there. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and it's getting you through the international break. Everybody, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe, and get your comments in below. As you can see, lately, we're very good at getting back to absolutely everybody. So just get your comments, your thoughts, and everything that's in below. I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who has tuned in. A massive thank you to everybody who continues to support this channel financially. You have no idea how much it really does help me and Jack on the journey. Big up, everybody. See you all back here Saturday. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.